You are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. I'm Alanna.
And I'm Kelsey.
And this week is a true crime week. So, we can't promise any castles for my case, but there might be some jewels.
Ooh, I was hoping, because my case, it is kind of like a specialty items that were stolen. I was really hoping that yours was going to be like jewels or like diamonds and jewelry, and that makes me very happy.
I might even have sort of two shorter cases. But anyway,
Okay.
maybe you should go first because I've been waiting to hear about this one. I even had to, like I say, we were watching William Shatner's Unexplained, and for some reason he started talking about what I knew was your case, but I didn't know anything about it, so I like ran, left the room, and nope, can't hear that.
Yeah, be silent. Yeah.
It's like we were just watching The Office, and it's the one where he does that thing that became a meme where he's like, nope, don't like that.
Yeah.
Because they're like telling you how to sell printers and then paper on the side. And he's like, nope. Anyway.
Yeah, we can do mine first.
I want to hear it. I can't wait any longer.
We're doing heists. It's heist, baby. Dun, 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 dun. Because I brought that back up. So if you didn't listen to last week's episode, that won't make sense. And I'm ashamed for you.
Oh, no.
All right. So you have your tablet set up?
Yeah.
All right. So picture one, you can click on. I will introduce. So my case, if for all the listeners who I didn't spoil it for by telling the name of, because I was too excited, is the Gardner Museum heist, which is just absolutely bonkers, in my opinion. Some people will probably be let down, but in my opinion, I find it really interesting and I enjoy it. So I'm going to cover an extremely deep dive where you're literally going to learn everything you possibly need to know about the heist.
Well, I think you just let them tell us if they're disappointed. We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know. I know maybe it was a while ago. That's about all the information I have.
Yeah. And whether or not I had mentioned, we may or may not edit this out now. I don't know. I have curated a photograph montage that will be up on our website, but I have labeled it and sent it in a drive for Alanna to view while we actually record this, which we normally don't do. So she gets to follow along.
Yay! I'll pay attention now. Just kidding.
Yeah, it has pictures. It's like a movie. It's as good as the Netflix special was. No.
It's good. I want visuals because I'm sensing like an art theme coming because you said curated.
Yes, it is. So,
nice.
Picture one is Elizabeth. So, Elizabeth Stewart Gardner created the Elizabeth Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. It was constructed under the guidance of the art collector herself, Isabella Stewart Gardner, and she lived from 1840 to 1924, and she used the museum to house her personal art collection.
Nice.
So you can move to, I really liked her dress in this picture. I was obsessed with this picture.
Definitely got a big bustle on. That's the little fake pillow that makes their butt look bigger. But just to clarify, is her name Isabella? Because this thing because Isabella.
Yeah, sorry, Isabella.
Okay, just making sure.
Isabella Stewart Gardner.
Ooh, yeah, and she also is looking at you like, what are you looking at, punk? It's very Robert De Niro.
Yeah. Yeah, she kind of has something going on with the one side of her mouth.
Yeah, I just thought girls got the attitude.
Yeah. All right. So if you go to picture two, so picture 2 and 3 you can go to. So the museum was built to resemble a Renaissance Venetian palace. While the outside remains rather plain, the inside holds a luscious garden courtyard. So picture 4, which there's many pictures of the courtyard. This was one of my favorites.
Oh, the courtyard's nice, but the outside looks like a prison.
Yeah, the outside is like nothing. So the little kind of like glass peak greenhouse, when you look at the exterior, that's the courtyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but the courtyard, it's like once you're inside it, then it's got you're in an interior, courtyard, so it's like towering balconies and whatever rising up
Yeah.
above you and all the
So
greenery. Yeah,
all
lush.
the galleries like surround the courtyard. Like the hallways to the gallery are all surrounding it, which is really cool. I kind of went into like a similar museum in Cuba, I think it was, with my family that had this, and there was actually like peacocks living in the courtyard of the museum, but the courtyard of the museum didn't have a roof. But it was
Oh, wow.
really, really beautiful. It was like the same idea, like the tropical middle with the plants and stuff.
Did it not have a roof just over the courtyard part, or?
Yeah, just over the courtyard.
Okay, I was like, wow, that's really risky with all your valuables.
Yeah. So the next pictures, so pictures 5, 6, and 7, you can click through. So each gallery has its own theme and decor. So the first one's the Dutch room, the second one is called the blue room, and the third one's called the short gallery. The short gallery is essentially just a hallway that they've made into like a little small like sketches and artwork kind of display area.
Oh, it's a mini gallery.
Yeah. So the museum opened to the public in 1903, and Gardner continued to expand the collection and arrange it until she died in 1924.
Wow.
At this time, she left the museum with a $3.6 million endowment, and in her will, it stipulated that the arrangements of artwork were not allowed to be altered, and no items were allowed to be sold or bought and added to the collection. So this is literally like as is, nothing moves, you don't ever add anything, and you don't ever take anything away or sell it.
Oh, art
Yeah.
is like matter. It cannot be created or destroyed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at least in her gallery. So by the 1980s, the museum was running low on funds, and the financial strain left the museum in poor condition. It lacked proper climate control system, and had issues with an insurance policy that wasn't covering theft for the artwork. It was also in need of basic building maintenance because it was a super old building.
That'll happen.
Yeah. So after the FBI uncovered a plot by Boston criminals to rob the museum in 1982, the museum allocated funds to upgrade their security. Among these improvements were 60 infrared motion detectors and a closed-circuit television system consisting of 4 cameras placed around the building's perimeter. During these upgrades, no cameras were installed within, as the Board of Trustees thought installing such equipment in the historical building would be too expensive. But they did agree to hire more security guards. Despite
Wait,
these,
okay, they don't want security cameras because it's too expensive. And this is what year?
this is 1982. So what happens is like, because of when the museum was built, it didn't have like the proper wiring and everything, and they would have had to like rip apart walls and stuff to like wire these cameras. And they knew like Isabella wouldn't have want them to like destroy half the museum just for security cameras. So the board of directors were like, nope.
Oh, because like yeah, you wouldn't want to mess with the interior because like some of the rooms, even the molding is like gilded and it's
Yeah.
part of like the artisticness. And
Mhm.
yeah, and so it's like why couldn't they make a nice secure, building surrounding it, like a fortress, like a like a bunker.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that would have been kind of smart, I guess.
Or with a moat, I don't know, maybe a dragon or two.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So more security guards were hired, but despite these security improvements, the only way police could be summoned to the museum was with a button at the security desk. Keep that in mind. Other museums at the time had fail-safe systems which required night watchmen to make hourly phone calls to the police to indicate that they were fine and nothing was wrong.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hourly. Yeah, that seemed kind of crazy. And
Bec-
in the
okay, I guess.
1980s. Yeah.
Yeah, so the systems aren't nearly as sophisticated as they are now, but
No.
still, a
Yeah.
night watchman calling in seems kind of rudimentary.
Yeah. An independent security consultant reviewed the museum's operations in 1988 and determined that they were pretty much on par with like other museums, but did recommend some improvements, including finally installing climate control to protect the artwork. The security director at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston also suggested security upgrades to the museum. Because of the museum's financial strain and Miss Gardner's wishes against any major renovations, the Board of Trustees did not approve these security enhancements.
They did not approve the
Yeah,
security?
they didn't approve it.
No, boards aren't always good. They're
Yeah.
sometimes very bigoted or biased, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Sorry, biased is the word I was looking for. Yeah.
The board also denied a request for the security director for higher guard salaries in a bid to attract more qualified applicants for the job. The current guards were paid slightly above minimum wage at the time, and the security flaws of the museum were an open secret among the guards of the museum. So they knew like it was going to be hit at some point, they just didn't know when.
Yeah, isn't it like a secret's only a secret between two people?
Yeah.
Three people can keep a secret if two of them are dead, I think is how it goes.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
All right.
So we move on to the robbery. In the early hours of Sunday, March 18th, on St. Patrick's Day in the year 1990, two men who were disguised as police officers were parked in a hatchback on Palace Road, about 100 feet from the side entrance to the museum. The men were first witnessed about 12:30 a.m. by several St. Patrick's Day celebrators leaving a party near the museum.
Leaving a drunken party, for sure.
St. Patrick's Day at 12:30 a.m. These people are well and truly drunk.
Right, because technically it's the 17th, so yeah, this is
Yeah.
like they have been drunk for all of St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Or no, this is into the morning. So they had started drinking on the 17th and this is now only a few hours into the 18th. Actually, St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
Well, my birthday's the 14th, and for some reason I always thought I needed to like maybe have a party where I could be partying from the 14th till the 17th when everybody else was drinking. I think I always just wanted my birthday to be St. Patrick's Day because then everybody would be partying.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like you don't have a little party to go to, maybe?
Yeah, just go to a bar and you can just party with the entire bar.
Exactly. Anyway.
All right. So the museum guards on duty that night were Rick Abbott, who was 23, and Randy Heston, age 25. So you have a 23-year-old and a 25-year-old looking after your millions of dollars worth of artwork overnight.
I mean, security job, I guess. They don't always have to have the best qualifications, not like police or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Abbott, who is 23, was a regular night watchman, but it was Heston's first time on night shift as the guard who was supposed to be scheduled had called in sick.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the security policy at the Museum maintained that one guard patrolled the galleries with a flashlight and walkie-talkie while the other sat at the security desk. Abbott was on first patrol. During his patrol, fire alarms started sounding off in different rooms in the museum, but he could not locate any fire or smoke.
Okay, so there's fire alarms going off, but he doesn't know where to go, where the fire is. Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of different rooms. So Abbott returned to the security room where the fire alarm control panel indicated smoke in multiple rooms. He assumed some type of malfunction and shut down the panel. He went back on patrol, and before he completed his rounds, made a quick stop at the side entrance of the museum, briefly opening the door and shutting it again. He did not tell Heston he was doing this or why. Abbott completed his tour and returned to the security desk around 1 a.m., at which point him and Heston traded off and Heston began his rounds. Abbott is now stationed at the security desk alone. I have this laid out all chronologically.
Yeah. Mr. Green is in the conservatory and Abbott is at the station alone.
Yeah. Yeah, Abbott is now stationed at the desk alone. Brings us to 1:20 a.m. The thieves drive up on the side entrance, parked and walked up to the side door. They rang the buzzer, which connected them to Abbott at the security desk through the intercom. They explained to Abbott that they were police investigating a disturbance and needed to be buzzed into the building. Abbott could see them on the closed-circuit television and confirmed that they were wearing what appeared to be real police uniforms. He was not aware of any disturbance in the area, but theorized that as it was St. Patrick's Day, perhaps a partier had climbed over the fence and someone had seen and reported it. Abbott let the men in to the building at 1:24 a.m.
I mean, I probably would. If you look the part, you're usually like, okay, you're authority, like I need to comply with your request.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but somehow I sense this is not the right move.
No. The thieves were let into a locked foyer which separated their side door from the museum. They approached Abbott at his desk and asked if anyone was in the museum and to bring them down. Abbott radioed Heston to return to the security desk. So what happens is they have the outside exterior door, and then from the security office and desk that they would sit at, kind of had a big window.
Okay.
And then in this window, you could see into a really small hallway that was maybe the size of a closet or so. So they would get buzzed into that door. They would be stuck in this room with this two-way mirror so they could see and talk to the people who were there. And then they had to get buzzed into a separate door.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it does have two doors you get buzzed through, but because they look like police officers, of course, they get buzzed through all the way.
Extra security, unless you look the part.
Yeah. So, yeah, Abbott radioed Heston to return to the security desk. Abbott noticed around this time that the mustache on the taller man appeared fake.
Oh no!
Just makes me happy.
He could. What? Yeah, he has to put a fake mustache on.
Yeah.
That's gonna really help you in the end if it all goes to shit.
Yeah. The shorter man told Abbott that he looked familiar and that they may have a warrant for his arrest and to come out from behind the desk and provide identification. Abbott complied, stepping away from the desk where the only panic button to alert the police was. The shorter man forced Abbott against a wall, spreading his legs and handcuffing him. Abbott noticed that he was not being frisked. At this time, Heston walked into the room, and the taller thief turned around and handcuffed him. Once both guards were handcuffed, the thieves revealed their true intention. Oh my god. Once both guards were handcuffed, the thieves revealed their true intentions to rob the museum by stating, "Gentlemen, this is a robbery." They did it so dramatically in the Netflix special. I loved it. I was like, that line, "Gentlemen, this is a robbery."
I can't hear this. If I hear this is a robbery, I think of Oh my God, I think it's Natural Born Killers with Bonnie, and it's Quentin Tarantino film, and it's everybody be cool, this is a robbery, and they're just like holding up like a diner, and everybody's having to put like their wallets and everything in a big bag.
Yeah, I'm
Like
just
it's
trying to eat
all
my bacon and eggs, man. It's too
just give me
early
my
for this.
yeah, give me my spam.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the thieves wrapped duct tape around the heads and eyes of the guards, which sounds horrible, and I have pictures of to come later on. Uh, Without
Don't
asking for directions, they led the guards into the basement where they were handcuffed to a steam pipe and workbench. The thieves examined the wallets of the guards and explained that they knew where they live and not to tell authorities anything, and they would get a reward in about a year. It took the thieves 11 minutes to subdue the guards. It was now 1:35 a.m.
Wow. Okay. Quick take.
The Yeah, this whole thing is like timed in increments that they know of, like because of the motion sensor cameras, it literally triggered every single like second, so they know what rooms they were in like every minute and how many were in the rooms every minute. Like it's all laid out.
And here I thought it was going to be like a modern heist, or rather, a heist that was going to be relatively easy to pull off because it sounded like the museum was so old. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, like I've probably heard of a few different cases where somebody just had to do something like basically just put it under their shirt and walk out the door because the security they had at the time wasn't great. So this is actually a lot more complicated than I thought.
Yeah, that's why I like this. Like it's pretty intricate and well planned for something that like seems like it shouldn't have happened. Like yeah.
Very neatly done, I guess.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the thieves' movements through the museum were recorded on infrared motion detectors. Steps in the first room they entered, the Dutch room on the second floor, were not recorded until 1:48 a.m. This was approximately 13 minutes after they finished subduing the guards. They were perhaps waiting to make sure that no police were alerted. So,
Okay.
for this next section, you can slowly make your way through pictures 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's pretty much all the pictures of those
The
five pictures are
paintings.
like, yeah, the paintings and things. So
Mm,
as the thieves approached the paintings in the Dutch room, a device began beeping that would normally trip when a patron was too close to a painting. The thieves smashed it. Or the best known works of art were taken from the Dutch room. They took The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, which is
oh.
yeah, it's actually really beautiful. It's one of my favorite ones. A Lady and Gentleman in Black. They threw these items on the marble floor, which shattered their glass frames. Using a blade, they cut the canvases out of their stretchers and frames. So they literally like butchered these paintings to remove them. Like,
Oh no.
yeah. They also removed,
Yeah,
um,
it's like all jagged.
yeah, they're
Awful.
all jagged and torn, like out. So picture 9, they also remove a large Rembrandt self-portrait oil painting from the wall, but they left it leaning against a cabinet. Investigators believe that they may have considered it was too large for transport, potentially because it was painted on wood and not on canvas like the others. Some also hypothesize it was simply forgotten about. Yeah.
Imagine.
Uh, Instead, the thieves took a small postage stamp size self portrait etching by Rembrandt on display beneath that large portrait and took the time to remove the postage stamp sized picture from its frame that was small enough to fit in your pocket, which I found hilarious.
Oh, I don't get that. That makes no sense.
Yeah, so like they literally smash and like carve out the other ones and they're like, sweet, this like postage stamp is in a frame that's the size of a postcard. let me take the time to literally undo these tiny screws everywhere on it so that I can just take the little postage stamp picture.
Yeah, and if the frame wasn't glued to anything, it's like, what the hell? Even if you were going to put it in some sort of a, what do they call it? Like a portrait, like a locket.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like you could just take it home, maybe take it out of that frame if you want to, fix it up, whatever. Yeah, you wouldn't have to like butcher the whole thing and rip it out there. It's like
Yeah.
even people that are like basic, like say like, oh, people are gonna steal something, like they are smart enough to usually know like to, oh, I'm gonna steal a pair of boots. Well, maybe I'll take my pair of boots off and I'll put my old pair of boots in there and I'll wear the other ones out. You know, they got all the tricks, but these guys just seem dumb. They don't
Yeah,
even
that's why it goes back and forth. It's like, were they geniuses or were they idiots? Like,
they seem like they would get caught stealing at like Walmart.
yeah. So on the right side of the room, they removed landscape with Obelisk and the concert from their frames. The final piece taken from the room was an ancient Chinese gu, which is a pouring vessel. It kind of looks like a vase.
Okay.
So that's up to picture 12. The short gallery and blue room are kind of mixed in with those. Some of the pictures I talk about are in with the other pictures. At
Yeah.
1:51 a.m., while one thief was continuing to work in the Dutch room, the other entered a narrow hallway that was called the short gallery that was on the other side of the second floor. The other thief joined him soon. In this room, they began removing screws for a frame displaying a Napoleonic flag, likely as an effort to steal the flag. They appeared to have given
Oh, I
up
thought you
partway.
said Napoleonic plague.
No, flag.
Because all of a sudden maybe I was thinking bubonic plague.
No, Napoleonic flag.
Okay. Okay, so that was like Napoleon's personal
I
flag.
guess so.
Yeah, or his troops or whatever. That's what I would
Yeah.
guess. Okay. Okay.
They appeared to have given up partway through as not all the screws were removed and ultimately only took the exposed eagle finial atop the flagpole. So that's the eagle statue. They also
Oh,
took 5 Degas sketches from the room. The last work stolen, and my personal favorite out of all of them, was the Chaise Tortoni from the blue room on the first floor. So that's the last picture. It's the guy in the black suit with the top hat. I don't know why it's my favorite. It just is. It's,
Ed,
yeah.
oh, okay. Wait, Manet. Oh, that's confusing because then there's, I don't know, art, and then there's Monet. I think
Yeah,
we've
this is
established I don't
Manet.
know fucking
It's
art.
different.
Oh
I
my
know
God.
in this, I kept being like, I don't know how to pronounce any of these artists' names. I'm not gonna look it up, because whatever. I have too much
Well,
to read, and I'm not gonna remember how to pronounce it by the time we record anyway.
no, and I don't think I have a friend Ellen that's really good at art, but I don't think she listens yet, Ellen. So you won't hear this.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm not great at the art history. Okay, Shiz.
Tortoni.
Jesus Christ. I am from New Brunswick. I could definitely pronounce that better because it's French. Edouard Manet Chez Tortoni. Definitely not
Che,
pronounced Chiz. I'm sorry.
che
Oh,
Tortoni.
yeah, because it's sort of like a proper form of house, but that's what I usually use it for restaurants because it's like, house, but whatever.
Yeah,
It's not like restaurant is restaurant. Like
yeah,
but yeah, I know he does look kind of mischievous. Like he's got a really tall top hat on and he's kind
yeah,
of cocking one eye up and writing at his desk. And I mean, yeah, I can see the appeal. He's definitely got a little a glint and charm to him.
yeah.
Hmm.
So As the thieves prepared to leave, they checked on the guards one last time and apparently asked if they were comfortable and offered them any water.
Good.
They then, yeah, you guys thirsty? Can we remove the tape off of your face and eyes? Would you like some water?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, so humane. So
They,
thoughtful.
yeah. They then moved to the security director's office where they took the video cassettes that recorded their entrance on the closed circuit cameras and the data printouts from the motion detecting equipment. The movement data was still captured on a hard drive from the commuter, which remained untouched. The frame for Chez Tortoni or Chez Tortoni was left at the security director's desk. The
Okay.
thieves then moved to take the artwork out of the museum. The side entrance doors were opened once at 2:40 a.m. and again for the last time at 2:45 a.m. And it's believed they either took 2 trips or they left at separate times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the robbery from start to finish lasted 81 minutes.
It's like
Which
a
is
good movie long.
Yeah, so that's like from what I was hearing when I watched the Netflix thing, they were saying that that's quite a long time for you to spend in a robbery, unless you know 100% positive that cops will not be showing up at any point. So it
Pretty
seems
brave.
like they took their time.
Yeah, you'd have to know the security system wasn't going to alert the cops in that time for you
Yeah.
to be that ballsy. Yeah.
So you can move to picture 15. This is the Dutch room.
All right. Moving.
And this picture makes me sad because
Oh.
the frames on the ground and everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next shift of guards arrived at 8:15 a.m. So keep in mind these poor security guards were left from 2:45 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. tied up. So like over 5 hours.
Mm-hmm. That's no fun for anyone.
No. So when the next shift of guards arrived at 8:15 a.m. in the morning, they realized something was wrong when they couldn't establish contact with anyone inside that could let them in the building. They called a security director who, upon entering the building with his keys, found nobody at the watch desk and he called the police. The police searched the building until they found the guards tied in the basement. So you can move to the next picture. This is Richard Abbott, the security
That seems
guard.
like that even seems like that's a long time to call for police. Like you can't get a hold of someone inside the building and then you have to wait. Do they have to wait for that other guy to get there? You know what I mean? Before he could be like, nope, I don't see anybody. Better call police now. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, it actually, like from the Netflix special, they were talking to the girl that was she was part of the second shift that came in the morning, and she had only been on the job for like a couple weeks or a month or something. And she said she walked in there and like the security guy like literally handed her a crowbar, and because they didn't know if there was anybody in the building that was gonna hurt them or like kill them and stuff, and they literally like searched the building, couldn't find the guys, and then they called the police. And then it was like the police that found them. The police searched the building, top to bottom, until they found the guards still tied up in the basement. So picture 16, that's Richard Abbott. I don't have pictures of the other guy because I couldn't find any, and the Netflix special only had one picture, and it was just his hands tied with tape.
Which
Yeah.
is, yeah, that's basically what this one is too.
Yeah.
Just tied up with tape. And then he's got duct tape on his face, which looks kind of painful.
Yeah, it was like covering his long hair he has. It was over his eyes and eyebrows. Like
It
it was
does look like
awful.
Weird Al Yankovic got covered in a bit of
Yes,
duct tape over his
it does.
forehead. Yeah.
So security cameras in the Museum had been turned, the office door had been busted open, and a crowbar was leaned against the wall. So you can go to picture 17. This is the security office. It shows the Chez Tortoni frame sitting on the security director's chair. Well, keep in mind all the other frames are in their galleries and were left in their galleries. That's the only picture frame that was moved.
Weird. Maybe they were still working on it, like when they moved in. Something weird.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
A secret panel that's a door leading downstairs that is in the Dutch room was left open. That is the next picture, picture 18. Which is kind of creepy because nobody but employees knew that this secret panel existed. And it was also behind chairs.
I couldn't even see it for the first few seconds I looked at the picture.
Yeah.
It's like covered in the same wallpaper. Yeah, it looks like it would blend right in.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Along with a proximity alert that was ignored by thieves, the time spent in the museum 81 minutes, and the knowledge of where the basement the security office was, as well as taking security tapes and printed record of motion alerts, it is believed that they had insider information. The museum's motion detectors did not detect any motion within the blue room on the first floor during the thieves' time in the building. The only footsteps detected in that room that entire night were Abbott's, the guard, during the 2 times he passed through the gallery on his patrol earlier that day around 12:27 a.m. So you can go to picture 19. This is the motion detector printouts for the day.
Okay.
This leads police to believe that the last work stolen, the Che Tortoni from the blue room on the first floor, was stolen by someone before the robbery took place. Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, there's timestamps on what you have me looking at here.
Yeah. It timestamps, and it says, like, investigate immediately. Investigate immediately. Someone is in the Dutch room.
1:54 a.m. Because it's like army time. I can tell it's a.m. Yeah. It's definitely supposed to be urgent.
Yeah. So none of these printouts printed in the one room that the last picture was taken in on the first floor, the Che Tortoni, like that, the room that picture was taken in, no alarms were tripped when the robbers were in the building.
Weird.
So you can go to picture 20 and make it as big as possible, look at as much as you want. It's a complete start to finish recreation. Tracing from the exact time that they entered the building to when they left and when they were in the room, like when they were in each room, and kind of a layout of the museum.
It reminds me when I had to take this computer class where you had to learn how to design. It was like a building design. It was called like AutoCAD or something silly, and yeah, you had to like 3D print a building or whatever online. Yeah, and then it's like showing like a maze. Well, this is the route they took, and they went right in here, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, so they like came in the side door, they went up the stairs, they got to the second floor, they were in the Dutch room, which is the big one on the right, for most of the time. Then the one guy went into the short gallery, the little hallway, and then they went back and were both in the Dutch room again, and then they don't know how they got the Che Tortoni out of that room. So the blue room itself doesn't have motion sensors, but the 2 hallways, that's the only 2 ways to get into that room, those both have motion sensors. So it's those sensors we're talking about. Nobody tripped the sensors outside of the blue room while the robbers were in the building. The only ones that tripped those sensors that night were Abbott's footsteps when he was on his walk.
Right, so they definitely somehow got past all the sensors.
Yes. All right. So that ends the robbery part. So the next section is all about the search for the art. So 13 works in total were stolen. And in 1990, the FBI estimated that the value at the time was approximately $200 million. This estimate was raised to $500 million by the year 2000. In the late 2000s, some art dealers suggested that this robbery could be worth approximately $600 million.
Right, as the art like gained whatever wealth or like and as
Yeah,
inflation happens as well.
yeah,
Gained value, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. As the art gained value and as the inflation sets in. Yeah, okay.
exactly.
Hmm.
So it was considered the largest museum heist in terms of value until it was finally surpassed by the Dresden Green Vault burglary in 2019, which I did not look up. But
Okay, I did not cover it, but that leaves it open for the future.
yeah,
In fact, I found that, like, yeah, you could look up biggest robberies or heists and get a lot of results. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It seemed somebody was even arguing about one that was in the Guinness Book, and I was like, well, I don't know. Like, who measures these things? There's got to be a
yeah.
largest per country at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like largest per country is probably the most accurate way to track that information.
Right, and sometimes it's the largest, say, like airplane heist or whatever. Like sometimes
Yeah.
there's, yeah, yeah, okay.
So the most valuable works, as I mentioned, were taken from the Dutch room. Among these was The Concert by Dutch painter Vermeer, who lived from 1632 to 1675. This painting was one of only 34 paintings attributed to him, and that painting alone accounts for half of the heist values, like total value, and it's estimated at approximately $250 million in 2015.
Oh boy, so that's the one I
So
want to find.
yeah, 1 out of 13 is like half of the value of the heist.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's the George Clooney of the Ocean's 13. No.
yeah.
Which one was
Experts,
it again?
that's the concert. So it is in
Okay.
picture 10.
Okay, sure. I just want to kind of
It's
look
just
at it.
yeah. Yeah, as I go through these, yeah, I'll let you know which ones they are.
Okay.
Because it's kind of cool. That's why I wanted to include the pictures, because I didn't want to just be like randomly just telling you stuff, but when you can actually see it, I feel like it brought a lot more to the story than just you listening to me read off this random shit for an hour. The
That
concert,
that one's not even that exciting. It's like
exactly, that's what I think. It's a essentially a woman at a piano and a guy sitting in a chair in front of the piano, and then a woman standing at the piano, like, and then they like keep saying that she's about to burst grandiosely into song, and really it just looks like she's standing there with her mouth closed, but okay.
I thought
um
she was sewing something in her hands, just like looking down at it, ready to keep sewing. And that's why her hand's up a little bit.
oh yeah, no, she's supposed to be singing from like a chorus book or something. I think that's what
Oh,
that's supposed to be, yeah.
I see.
So yeah, the experts believe it might be the most valuable stolen object in the world, which that kind of sucks. I don't know. Um, in
For whom? For
yeah,
us, we
sorry,
haven't found it yet?
sorry,
No.
any art historians and art critics. I'm not impressed with that picture. Um,
Right. Like, yeah, I'm very sad when there's a great work of art lost. I think I saw something to say today that says it was like some sort of history joke meme about, oh yeah, I'm still mad about the Library of Alexandria. And I was like, oh, was that one of the ones they burned? Because yeah, damn it, burning books is not cool. But like,
yeah,
it's art is very subjective, as is the art of novels as well, obviously, but it's like, yeah, it can be harder to emote with it if you're like, that isn't something I would pay millions of dollars for.
Yeah. So in the same room, the thieves targeted many works by Dutch painter Rembrandt, who lived from 1606 to 1669.
I have heard of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have heard of Rembrandt. These included The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, which is my second favorite.
I mean, it's got
Um,
bows. That was cool. I like
yeah.
water.
Apparently the full name is supposed to be Christ on a boat in the storm on the Sea of Galilee or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like quite long. So like which dude is supposed to be Jesus? He's like he's the one that's like kind of the only one really looking back, the guy that's not like playing with the oar.
I
He
know
kind of has
Jesus.
his hands up
Jesus
in
would
like a
never play with his oar.
yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, he's kind of the one that's looking like back in the ship and everybody else is kind of looking forward.
My tablet just decided it just wanted to cut the picture in half right now, so I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Lovely. So the storm on the Sea of Galilee is Rembrandt's only seascape and is the most valuable of his work stolen that night.
Wow.
Essentially, probably because it's a large painting, it's quite large, and because it's his only seascape, it's one of a kind.
Okay, so
Um,
very rare.
yeah, estimates have placed its value at over $100 million since the robbery. Um,
Ah.
so
Like,
back
is there
to
not another copy of it? Like, when we say it's very rare, when you say it's his only seascape, like, is that the only copy of that actual painting?
yeah, these are all like one of a kinds and
That's
stuff. And this was like his only painting he did that included like was on an ocean kind of thing that didn't have land in it.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you go to picture 21 in the drive, this is the Lady and Gentleman in Black. So another Rembrandt that was taken was this picture, the Lady and Gentleman in Black. And upon X-ray, it was revealed that Rembrandt had altered the picture to paint out a child of the couple in the picture that had apparently died. So in picture 21, that's the little child that's kind of in blue. That's the child that was painted out. And they revealed this by X-ray because they could determine how the depth of paint layers when they were doing it.
It does look like somebody tried to paint a ghost or something.
Yeah, that's the X-ray revealing that there's layers of paint that were added on top of that section to paint that child out because apparently the child had died. Yeah.
Weird. 'Cause I was reading or listening to something the other day where it said about the practice of people taking like a Victorian era photo with the actual dead person, and it looked like yeah, with the dead body, and they were like just propped up with their arm
Yeah.
against the other guy. And I was like, wait, which one's the dead body? And just one of
Yeah.
them had eyes that were a little bit more open than the other, otherwise open than the other ones. Otherwise, you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
So weird.
Um, and then also taken by Rembrandt was the small postage stamp size self-portrait etching by himself, Rembrandt.
Mhm.
And this postage stamp sized etching was previously stolen but had been returned in 1970. I assume because it's just so damn small. Again, its frame it was literally the size of a postcard. People probably took it and
If they
just
hadn't have,
pocketed it.
yeah, if they hadn't have sliced it out, I would be like, it probably just got stuck on the bottom of their shoe.
Yeah. Uh, the thieves may have taken the landscape with Obelisk, which is also kind of boring. That one's in picture 11. Both of those tied together just look like the most boring two out of everything. Landscape with Obelisk was possibly taken because it at the time was, or many believed that it was actually a Rembrandt painting, as it was long attributed to him until it was quietly credited to his pupil Gover Flinnick, who lived from 1615 to 1660, and it was only credited to this other gentleman a few years before the heist. So that's why they believe it was possibly taken, as maybe the thieves thought it was a Rembrandt.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They probably did.
The last item taken from the Dutch room was a bronze goo. So that's that vase-looking vessel. And it's about 10 inches or 25 centimeters tall. It's traditionally used for serving wine in ancient China, and the beaker was one of the oldest works in the museum, dating back to the Shang Dynasty in the 12th century. But keeping that in mind, its estimated value is only a few $1,000s. So,
Oh, but it's served
yeah.
wine. That makes it valuable to me.
Yeah, and it's the oldest, the Shang Dynasty in the 12th century BC. So it's like the oldest thing in the museum, and it's literally probably worth the least, which kind of
I
seems
mean,
strange.
yeah, that is stupid because that thing must have one hell of a patina.
Uh,
I don't know.
all
I
right.
think I saw this Black Mirror or something. I don't know. There was maybe it was supernatural, and there was like an enchanted Chinese tea set, and it was like, yeah, the patina. You can't like, you have to use the same thing over and over again because it'll just like make that lovely like, I don't know, film on it that becomes historical. And I'm like, okay,
Oh
now I
yeah,
just.
they revealed that in the one episode of Sherlock. I don't know if you ever watched that.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, and they talked about that. It like moistens the pottery of it or whatever and keeps it from cracking.
Yeah, I remember thinking like it's so cool, such a neat word, and like interesting how it adds to it over time, like an aged wine or something. And
Yeah.
now the only place I hear the word patina is on Curse of Oak Island when the British like metal detector guy Gary Drayton is like, look at the patina on that. That's a Bobby Dazzler. Top pocket find. Oh, he's so funny.
I love that.
He gets so excited when he finds something. Yeah.
In the short gallery, 5 sketches by French artist Edgar Degas, who lived from 1834 to 1917, were stolen. They were each done on paper less than a square foot in size and were done with pencils, ink, swashes, or charcoal. And they're, out of all of the works, they're relatively little value compared with the other stolen works, worth just under $100,000 combined. So
Oh, small potatoes.
yeah, so the 5 of them add up to $100,000. Um,
Okay.
yeah, also taken was the 10-inch tall or 25-centimeter French Imperial Eagle finial from the corner of the framed flag for Napoleon's Imperial Guard. So it says Imperial Guard that the flag was.
Okay.
There is currently a $100,000 reward for information leading to the return of the finial alone. So that's completely separate than any other rewards we'll talk about later.
Still?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's a teaser for you. It possibly was stolen because it appears kind of like gold, like old rustic kind of gold.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be why it was taken. The Che Tortoni by French painter Edouard Manet from lived from 1832 to 1883 was taken from the Blue Room. It was the only item taken from the first floor. This random mix of items has kind of puzzled experts. While some of the paintings were valuable, the thieves passed on other valuable works by Raphael, Botticelli, and Michelangelo and left them undisturbed, opting to take relatively valueless items like the goo and the finial. So that's the thieves never entered the third floor where, unfortunate name, Titan's The Rape of Europa hung, which is one of the...
Okay.
And this painting is the most valuable painting, or one of the most valuable paintings in the entire city. And they didn't even go up on the third floor where that one was.
So, did you say how long they spent there? I forget.
81 minutes. They were there for almost an hour and a half.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was still limited. It wasn't like they were there all night or anything.
No.
Okay.
The selection of works and the brutish ways the weaves.
The Weasleys?
Yeah. The selection of works and the brutish ways the thieves handled the artwork, like cutting them out of the frames and stretchers, has led investigators to believe that the thieves were not experts commissioned to steal particular works of art. However, at the same time, the FBI does not believe that this was a crime of opportunity.
No, it seemed pre-planned.
Yeah, so my next section is pretty much just running through the ongoing list of suspects that are believed to have committed this, which in itself is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I love a suspect.
There's a lot of suspects.
Oh.
Yeah. And the next 9 pages are about the suspects. There's more about the suspects than anything else in this case.
Sounds like Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, exactly. So for the first one here, so just in general, the FBI took immediate control of the case on the grounds that the artwork could likely cross state and country lines. Investigators have called the case unique for its lack of strong physical evidence. The thieves did not leave behind footprints or hair, and it is inconclusive if any of the fingerprints left at the scene were from the thieves or any museum employees.
Oh.
Yeah. The FBI has done some DNA analysis in the years following as advancements in the field have grown. However, the duct tape used as bindings unfortunately went missing shortly after the heist. And from what the Netflix series told me, was as soon as it was taken off of the guards, was pretty much balled up and like thrown in a corner. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great for the work.
And some of the other evidence has just been lost among many, many years of files. So on that note, you can move to picture 22. So picture 22, the guards and witnesses in the street described one thief as about 5'9", or between 5'9" and 5'10", in his late 30s with a medium build, and the other is described as between 6'0" and 6'1", in his early 30s with a heavier build. So these are the 2 composite sketches, or I guess 4, with and without fake mustaches.
Also, I love how you said 6'0". I just have to say.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to be like 6 and 6'0", because I don't know, it sounds weird to me.
Oh, 6 foot.
Yeah.
I love the little fake mustaches. Yeah, they're very like
with and without. I love it.
Yeah, it's like a longer Hitler mustache.
Yeah, it is. They're exactly like just a bit bushier of Hitler mustaches drawn on these men.
It doesn't end at the nose.
Yeah. Witnesses who saw the men in the car outside, these are the drunk party goers, witnesses who saw the men outside in the hatchback that were dressed as cops shortly before the heist state that the police sketches are not very accurate and that their statement and sketches were embellished to make it more descriptive.
Oh.
Because again, they were walking down the street. It was 12 in the morning and they were drunk on St. Patrick's Day. Like,
I mean,
yeah.
sounds Canadian.
Yeah. And again, the museum was notified by the FBI in 1981 or 2 that they were being cased. And the person at that time was arrested. However, that person did already have insider info on locations of artwork, floor plans, and that may be part of an organized crime or method of payment of info or access to the museum for money owing. So apparently in Boston at the time, there was this huge thing about if you could steal paintings, not only could you barter yourself out of prison, but you could get the museum to not press charges on the basis that you could return part or the whole of that artwork. So it's kind of a get out of jail free card, essentially.
They're like the library. They're like, I can borrow this if I return it.
Well, it's like so what they did is they'd take it and they'd hide it, and if they got arrested, they'd be like, I can tell you where it is, but if they didn't get arrested, then they would sell it. That's essentially what it came down to.
Okay, nice little backup plan. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I understand now. Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
like they would have these, they'd be like, okay, if I say somebody needs $10 million for something, they'd be like, okay, I don't have $10 million, but I have like this priceless artwork. Do you want it? I can't sell it on the black market because it's like flagged, but I could give it to you. This is its approximate value. Would you take that? So it was like a method of payment for like even like terrorist organizations like and everything to like get guns, ammunition to fund like activities and stuff. It was like a big thing, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I couldn't find a recent picture of Richard Abbott, the security guard. Anything on the Netflix documentary, they just had him talking, other than the picture of him with like tape and stuff. The first suspect looked at was Richard Abbott, is the security guard,
Right.
on the night of the robbery, and he acknowledges that he often came to work high, but was not high on the night of the robbery.
High on what? Do we know?
Pot, like a whole lot of pot. He was in a band, and it was the 90s.
Okay, but he's obviously functional enough to go to work in like a job in some capacity. So
Yeah.
okay.
Like
No, I
people
just
attest to him like partying and drinking like really, really hard and then being
Mhm.
like, okay, guys, you like gotta leave my house. I gotta go to work. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, I gotta go to work. And he had been like drinking and like partying for like 4 hours straight.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
It's like at this point we know no major hallucinogens or anything like that.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. No hard drugs, nothing
Mhm.
like that that they revealed or talked about at all.
Okay.
So I mentioned before, the museum had a two-door system to buzz in visitors, and that night it was not adhered to properly as the men were dressed as cops. It's unknown as well why Abbott opened the side door 10 minutes before the robbery, when he was doing his rounds. He says that he did this all the time, but this has not been proven.
Did this all the time. Why? To pee?
No, so I'll get to it in a minute.
All right.
On January 1st, so that would be what this is, September? Or no, this is March. So 2 months. Yeah, 2 months before the robbery, he let people into the museum at midnight for a party. Um, and they partied in the museum when he was supposed to be guarding it. Um, This was shown that he was, along with him showing up to work high and drunk, that he was consistently negligent at his job. But I remind you, he was also 25,
Oh
making
my
just
God,
above minimum wage in the 90s.
I have to give him a little bit of props. That's like a sick undercover rave. You're like in this
Yeah,
high
right?
profile museum. You like sneak a bunch of
I
people
would
in.
go there.
Well, and people
Yeah.
on drugs are not smart. They usually wreck the place, right? Like, especially if you get, just people that don't know what they're doing with them.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's crazy.
It's
I'm
possible that Abbott was an accomplice and that he is the one who took the Che Tortoni from the first floor. Its frame
Mhm.
was left on the head of security's chair, while all other frames were left in the gallery rooms. He apparently had given his notice to quit the job just a few days before the robbery, as apparently it was getting in the way of the band he was in at the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's like if right now I was like, I'm just gonna quit my job because it's in the way of my podcast. Because like this making money is in the way of my endeavor. That's like my hobby that I enjoy and I think I'm good at, but
Right? Yeah.
I have no idea if I am. Yeah, it's like maybe you should just wait a minute, honey.
Yeah.
I know.
And I also love this part. This part just made me lose all faith in him.
Oh.
In 2015, the FBI released a security video from the museum on the night before the theft, showing Abbott buzzing in an unidentified man into the museum to talk to at the security desk. Abbott told investigators he could not recall the incident or recognize the man in the video, so the FBI released the video and asked for the public's assistance. Several former museum guards came forward and said that the stranger in the video was Abbott's boss and the museum's deputy security chief. Like,
Okay,
they
my God.
released the video and are like, "Can you identify this man?" And he's like, "I don't know who it is." And then people come forward and are like, "Dude, that's your boss." Like, I love that.
It's just a little suspicious.
Yeah, who's this man in the video? I don't know. I've never seen him before. Dude, that was your boss. Like, what?
In his head, there's just that scene from Parks and Rec. Don't be suspicious. Don't be
Yeah.
suspicious. It's
Yeah.
all he can think, and he doesn't know what to do. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
This is why he was investigated first. I'm really sad about it because he's actually innocent. Like, none of this literally, but just so many things happened that it's like, dude, it just looked, this whole thing could have been pinned on you. Like,
That is how easily it happens. Yeah.
yeah. So, security guard Rick Abbott was investigated early on because of his suspicious behavior on the night of the theft.
Don't be suspicious. Don't
Don't
be
be.
suspicious.
When on his patrol, Abbott briefly opened and shut a side door, a move which some believe could have been a signal to the thieves parked outside on that side of the building. Abbott told authorities that he did this routinely to ensure that the door was locked? Question mark? You
He,
open and close the door to ensure it's locked? Okay.
oh, not like yeah, like if it looks locked and then you jiggle the handle, I can see that, but that
No,
that
he
sounds
would open and close the door to make sure it was locked. One
Oh,
of
well,
yeah,
those door handles are working.
one of Abbott's colleagues told journalists that if Abbott had opened this door routinely, as he states he did, supervisors would have seen it on the computer printouts and would have immediately put a stop to it.
Okay.
More suspicion has been drawn from the museum's motion detectors, which did not detect any movement in the Blue Room, as the Blue Room does not have motion detectors, but on the hallways on either side do. And they detected no motion in the hallways during the 81 minutes the thieves were in the museum. The only footsteps in that room that night were Abbott's during his security patrol. A security consultant reviewed the motion detector equipment several weeks after the theft and determined that they were operating correctly. He explains that not every gallery or hallway had a detector because it was hard to run wiring, and Gardner had asked for most things not to be changed. He also states that there was a fire alarm that went off that night, and it is possible that there was a power glitch somewhere in the museum. In the Netflix special, it talks about employees saying that the motion detectors were not always reliable, and it was common for them to kind of like play games and try and test like in the rooms whether or not they could like get into the rooms undetected as like a game. During the night shift, because obviously they were bored. So like one of them would like in their rounds like try and like sneak into rooms and see if the other one would like catch them.
But then not use it to increase security.
Yeah, exactly. And it says that the employees often complained about the lack of security and that they themselves felt unsafe in the building during the night shift.
Mm.
Yeah. Abbott maintains his innocence, and the FBI agent overseeing the case in its early years determined that the guards were too incompetent and foolish to have pulled off the crime, and they were cleared as suspects.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's bonkers. That just sounds
So
bonkers.
that moves us on to our first real suspect. If you'd like to go on to picture 23, which is my favorite picture in the drive, meet Miles Connor.
Oh my God. I don't know if I'm ready.
This is a picture when he was quite young, but he is holding like a cougar cat and a bird. And I just love it.
Is he Joe Exotic's great-great-grandfather?
Maybe, no. So Miles Connor is listed as a person of interest in another art heist that happened 2 years before the Gardner heist in the July of 1988. Connor was a career art thief who has a Mensa level IQ and states that he has completed over 30 art heists, with police only knowing about a couple of them.
Oh, he's a little braggy.
Yeah, he was crazy in the Netflix special. He's literally sitting there just smug. It was great. He was my favorite. That's why I did this picture, because it just encapsulates exactly who he is, even though he's significantly older now than this picture is.
Right, but like, I feel like it was like he looks like Joe Exotic. He's not going to be that kind of asshole.
Yeah.
He's going to be different kind of asshole.
Yeah. It is believed by some police that the Gardner Museum heist and the heist at Bangs Hallett House in Yarmouth, Cape Cod were committed by the same career thieves, as art theft is a very specific and specialized skill. The caretaker of that museum was tied up with his eyes and mouth taped shut. So that's similar. Stolen items include 6 portraits, a 13th century 13th century Chinese vase, and 200 pieces of scrimshaw, which I didn't know what they were, but they're ivory or bone scrollwork, engravings, or carvings.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know what scrimshaw was.
I don't think so either. It sounds to me like it's like, oh, you found some pottery pieces or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, but it's ivory or bone, like scrollwork, carvings, or engravings. So this case has also remained unsolved, and Connor has stated that he is not responsible for the robbery at Bangs Hallett Hotel, and he himself contacted police when he heard that they were, or when he heard that he was wanted for questioning, he just called them and was like, "I'll just meet you here." Um,
Oh my
Miles
god.
Connor had successfully used a Rembrandt as a bartering chip to get out of jail and reduce his sentence, as well as his bail. If I remember correctly, his bail was reduced from like multi-million-dollar to like $100 because of this Rembrandt. He's just like, I'll give you the Rembrandt, lower my bail. And they lowered it from like over $1 million to $100.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's how much bartering this had. Yeah,
My
so
face
like,
is very confused right now.
yeah,
It's
like when
just
I say artwork was a get out of jail free card, it was a get out of jail free card. Like museums would be like, no, we're not pressing charges. Nope, you're not charging them with anything. We just want the artwork back. That's all we care about. Like,
Yeesh.
yeah. So reportedly, he has told authorities at the times of him committing other known robberies that the Gardner Museum was on his bucket list to rob. He has not been charged for the Gardner Museum heist, as he was in jail for art that he had stolen before that, years before, at the time of the Gardner heist. So he was in jail at the time of the Gardner heist, but he's
Oh,
still possibly connected.
well, sure. It's not a one-man job. It's an Ocean's 11 or at least an
Yeah.
Ocean's 5.
Yeah, this is like full on. In my opinion, I think pretty much all of these people had some part in it. So if you go to the next picture, this is Whitey Bulger. So he
I've heard
is,
of him. Sorry, I've heard of him.
yeah, so he's one of the most powerful crime bosses in Boston during the era, heading the Winter Hill Gang. And he claimed he did not organize the heist, and in fact sent his agents out in attempt to determine who did cause the robbery, because the robbery was committed on his turf and he wanted to be paid tribute. So, you know.
Oh my god, that's the biggest deep fake there. Or no, double blind. What is the term? He's just like trying to like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'll
Well,
talk
that's
about it
like,
because then I won't seem guilty.
yeah, that's the classic. I'm going to insert myself into the investigation. Like,
Yeah, and usually it's because they get off on it. Yeah,
yeah.
in some capacity. Mm-hmm.
So, FBI agent Thomas McShane investigated Bulger for his involvement. He determined that Bulger's strong ties with the Boston police could explain how the thieves acquired legitimate police uniforms, or perhaps that real police were arranged to do the heist. Yeah.
Not great either way.
Yeah, exactly. Bulger also had relations with the Irish Republican Army, the IRA. McShane identified the bogus tripping of the fire alarm ahead of the heist as a calling card of the IRA, and that the rival Ulster Volunteer Force, the UFV, so the tripping of the fire alarm is kind of a calling card of two different organizations, with both organizations having agents in Boston at the time, and both had demonstrated capability in the past of pulling off art heists. McShane's investigation of Bulger and the IRA did not produce any evidence to tie them to the theft.
Okay. But there was
Um,
a history.
yeah, this part I did not find anything about in the Netflix special, which kind of disappointed me because it's one of the parts I wanted to know the most about. But again, it could be like we talked about, a deep fake thing.
Well, and the parts that are less talked about, so you're like, okay, it's probably because there's less information about it. That's why everybody
Yeah.
wants to know. Yeah.
So in 1994, museum director Anne Hawley received an anonymous letter from someone who claimed to be attempting to negotiate a return of the artwork. The writer explained that they were a third-party negotiator and did not know the identity of the thieves. They stated that the artwork was stolen to reduce a prison sentence, But as the opportunity had passed, there was no longer a motive to keep the artwork, and they wanted to negotiate a return. The writer explained that the artwork was being held in a non-common law country under climate-controlled conditions.
Well, that's good. Leave it
Yeah,
alone. It's
yeah,
not a child. It doesn't need you guys to raise it.
yeah,
Let them have custody.
yeah. They wanted immunity for themselves and all others involved, and $2.6 million in return for the artwork, which was asked to be sent to an offshore bank account at the same time as the art was to be handed over. If the museum was interested in negotiating, they were asked to print a coded message in the Boston Globe. To establish credence, the writer conveyed information only known by the museum and FBI at the time. So this was like a legit letter.
Interesting.
Holly
And
felt, yeah,
it's like the messaging is that kind of coded, not coded, but it's secret for that person only.
yeah. Holly felt that this was a really strong lead, and she contacted the FBI, who then contacted the Globe, and the coded message was printed in the May 1st, 1994 edition of the Boston Globe. Holly received a second letter just a few days later in which the writer acknowledged the museum was interested in negotiating, but had become fearful of what they perceived was a massive investigation by federal and state authorities to determine their identity. The writer explained that they needed time to evaluate their options, but Holly never heard from the writer again. So that's where that part ends, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Again, I would have loved to have like found out more information about that one, because like it said that they conveyed information only known by the museum and the FBI. So like that's a legitimate lead to follow up on, and there's no other information about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. For some reason, like I say, it was on the Unexplained show the other night, which is just usually about paranormal stuff. I don't it feels like a lot for my brain to handle right now.
Oh, there's even more. I'm not even close to done.
No.
There's still so many suspects you don't even understand. I'll
I
read through
mean,
them. I'll read through them faster.
okay. Oh, okay.
We'll go through faster. I don't think there's a lot to talk about in each of these, but yeah.
Sounds like it's unsolved.
Yeah, it's definitely unsolved. Like these people are, yeah, we'll never know. I have a feeling we'll absolutely never know. So there's another gentleman named Brian McDevitt. I don't have a picture of him, unfortunately. He was a con man from Boston who attempted and failed to rob the Hyde Collection in Glens Falls, New York in 1981. He dressed himself up as a FedEx driver and carried handcuffs and duct tape, and he planned to steal a Rembrandt. He was also a known flag aficionado and fit the description of the larger robber, except for the fact that Brian had thinning red hair. These parallels to the Gardner case fascinated the FBI, so they interviewed him in late 1990. McDavid denied any involvement and refused to take a polygraph test. The FBI ran his fingerprints, which did not match any of those at the crime scene. And my only end for him is that McDavid moved to California after this and conned his way into television and film writing. So love that. And he died in 2004.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard of a few successful McDavids, so I don't doubt it. There you go.
Oh, it's like McDevitt. McDevitt. McDevitt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So if you
Cool.
go to picture 25, so this brings us to pretty much the rest of the guys involved, headed by this gentleman, Carmelo Merlino. in charge of the Boston Mafia. Whoop, whoop. Which is probably the strongest lead on who was involved by the evidence I'm going to lay out, because it's abundant that they were involved.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So
he sounds like a lobster just by the name.
Yeah, Merlino. All of them sound like lobster names. Well, they're just Italian, man. They're just Italian last names.
Yeah. I don't know. I was gonna say like he sounds so Polish or something. Like I don't know.
No, they're Italian. So the FBI announced significant progress in their investigation in March 2013. They reported with a high degree of confidence that they had identified the thieves, which they believed were members of a criminal organization based in the Mid-Atlantic and New England. They felt with the same confidence that the artwork was transported to Connecticut and Philadelphia in the years following the theft, with an attempted sale in Philadelphia in 2002. Their knowledge of what happened after that is fairly limited, and they requested the public's help again to locate and return the artwork. In 2015, the FBI stated both thieves were deceased. Though the FBI did not publicly identify the individuals involved, sources familiar with the investigation said that they were associated with a gang from Dorchester. The gang was loyal to Boston Mafia boss Frank Salem and ran their operations out of an automobile repair shop run by criminal Carmelo Merlino, who's in picture 25. Merlino's associates may have gained knowledge of the museum's weaknesses after gangster Louis Royce cased it in early 1981. He devised plans with an associate to light up smoke bombs and rush the galleries amidst the confusion. In 1982, when undercover FBI agents were investigating Royce and his associates after unrelated art theft, they learned of their interest in robbing the Gardner Museum and warned the museum of the gang's plans. Royce was in prison at the time of the robbery, and Royce had shared his plans with others and believes associate Stephen Rossetti may have ordered the robbery or shared it with someone else. So brings us to picture 26 and 27, which is Robert Guarente and Robert Gentile.
Junior. Just kidding.
What?
I said Robert Downey Jr. Just kidding.
No, I wish. Robert Guarente and Robert Gentile.
Guarente. Yeah. Okay. Hang on. I'll go next. Okay.
Yeah,
here we
26,
go.
and then the next gentleman is 27, Robert Gentile. So among
I can't
those,
believe that's his real last name. That's weird. Gentile?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, okay. That's like if your last name was Robert Jew. Like,
yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So among those associated with the Merlino gang were Robert Guarente and Manchester, Connecticut gangster Robert Gentile. Guarente died from cancer in 2004, but his widow, Aline, told the FBI in 2010 that her husband had previously owned at least 2 of the paintings. And if I'm to go based on what the Netflix special showed when they said that, it is The Storm on the Sea of Galilee and The Lady and Gentleman in Black.
I mean,
yeah.
I guess it's a TV adaptation, but yeah.
She claimed that when her husband got sick with cancer in the early 2000s, he gave the paintings to Gentile for safekeeping. Gentile denied the accusations, claiming he was never given them and knew nothing about their whereabouts. Federal authorities indicted Gentile on drug charges in 2012, likely in an attempt to pressure Gentile for information about the Gardner works. At this time, he submitted to a polygraph test, which indicated he was lying when he denied any knowledge of the theft or location of the artwork. Gentile maintained that he was telling the truth and demanded a retest. During the retest, he said Aline once showed him the missing Rembrandt self-portrait, to which the polygraph machine indicated he was telling the truth.
Ah.
Which then it cuts to the who was it? Gentile's lawyer stating that as soon as the polygraph operators left the room, because they were all like, oh my god, we got him, this is amazing. They all left the room and it was him and his lawyer sitting there. And apparently Gentile just looked over and said, I got them with that one, didn't I? And his lawyer's like, you just made that up? And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, you just passed a polygraph saying that was the truth, man. Like, don't do that to me. You're gonna get arrested. Yeah, he
What?
apparently said that Garanti's like wife like pulled the little Rembrandt like postage stamp size self-portrait out of her bra at a dinner party.
Oh, I
And he
mean,
apparently
I
made
don't
that
know.
up.
It just this Robert Gentile looks so genteel, if you will. He's just smiling. He's like, you're like, okay, that's your uncle at the fucking birthday party or whatever.
Right? He looks like he's cooking dinner on a stove.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the hat's on. It's like he's ready to like get in a truck or like start piloting a boat. I can't tell.
Yeah, him and Garanti apparently were like fishing buddies from way
Oh,
back.
totally. I mean, that's so
Yeah.
innocent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gentile's lawyer felt the veracity of Gentile's claims were being affected by the large presence of federal agents and requested a smaller meeting in hopes that it would get Gentile to speak honestly. In the more intimate meeting, Gentile maintained that he did not have any information.
Okay.
A few days later, the FBI stormed Gentile's home in Manchester with a search warrant. The FBI found a secret ditch beneath a false floor in the backyard shed, but found it was empty. Gentile's son explained that the ditch had flooded a few years prior, and his father was upset about whatever had been stored there. In the basement, they found a copy of the Boston Herald from March 1990 reporting the theft, along with a piece of paper indicating what each of the 13 pieces might sell for on the black market. Beyond this, no conclusive evidence was found to indicate he ever had the paintings. Gentile went to prison for 30 months on drug charges. If he knew any information about the theft, at no point did he opt to share it, which would have reduced his sentence or freed him from prison.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. After getting out of prison, he spoke with investigative reporter Stephen Cargan, claiming he was framed by the FBI. He explained how the imprisonment negatively impacted his finances and personal life. He also explained that the list in his basement was written up by a criminal trying to broker return of the works from Garanti and was talking to Gentile as an intermediary. When asked about what could have been in the ditch, Gentile could not recall but believed it could have been small motors. Why are you hiding small motors in a false bottom in your shed?
And I
then,
mean, any car guy that's working on something that has a bunch of things, he's like, oh yeah. There were small motors there. It's like, oh no, it could be small motor. I don't know. Could be
yeah.
this. It just sounds so sketch and like sus.
So from the Netflix special, it did state that Gentile, while he lay dying in a hospital at the time, he was told he wasn't going to live through the night, and his lawyer came, hoping that he would reveal information about the Gardner heist in the hours before his death. So while Gentile lay dying in hospital, he was given the opportunity to die at home with his family if he could provide any piece of information about the paintings. According to his lawyer, he began crying and said that he had never had them. And while Gentile did recover from whatever illness he had, it was never stated. He has since been released from prison, and he is now in his 80s. Yeah, so he was adamant even when he believed in doctors were telling everybody, including himself, that he was going to die in a matter of hours.
Well, and if someone's saying he has some sort of secret, it's like it's gonna die with him. Is that right, or am I getting that wrong?
Possibly, like the lawyer was hoping by going there that he was going to reveal something right before he died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Deathbed confession kind of thing.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's what this case has pretty much come down to. Like, they're hoping somebody's going to make a deathbed confession, and they're finally going to know.
Yeah.
So, if you go to picture 28, it brings us to our next pair. This is the first, like, duo. The first guy we're going to talk about is the guy on the right, the younger guy. His name is David Turner, and he is another associate of the Merlino gang. The FBI began investigating him in 1992 when a source told them that Turner had access to the paintings. That same year, Merlino was arrested, the mob boss was arrested for cocaine trafficking and told authorities that he could return the paintings for a reduced prison sentence. He asked Turner to track down the paintings, to which Turner was unsuccessful, though he heard that they at the time were in a church in South Boston. Another associate arrested in the drug sting told authorities about Turner's involvement in several break-ins, but never mentioned the Gardner heist. Turner was supposedly seen a few days after the heist while he was under surveillance, taking what appeared to be a Ming vase out of his trunk.
As you do when you're getting home from work and you're like, I picked up a Ming vase on my way home. I just thought, I could stop by the liquor store and get a bottle of wine, but I'll grab a Ming vase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based on conversations with Merlino after his release from prison in the mid-1990s, authorities gathered that he never had direct access to the paintings, but possibly could broker for their return. Despite his claims of innocence, the FBI believes that he may have been one of the thieves. Evidence indicates that he went to Florida to pick up a cocaine order just days before the heist, and credit card records suggest that he remained there through the night of the robbery, but some investigators believe that this may have been Turner's attempt at creating an alibi. The FBI thinks the other thief was his friend and Merlino associate George Reisfelder, which is the gentleman on the left. Reisfelder died in July of 1991 of a drug overdose. No clues were found in his apartment or the homes of friends or relatives, but his siblings and sister-in-law recall a painting similar to Che Tortoni hanging above his bed in his room. Investigators believe that he actually looks similar to the slim man in the police sketches, as well as his vehicle matches the vehicle description of what the robbers were driving.
Okay.
In 1999, the FBI arrested Turner, Merlino, and Rossetti and others in a sting operation the day that they all planned to rob a Loomis Fargo vault. When the FBI brought Turner in for questioning, they told him they had information that he had participated in the Gardner robbery and that if he returned the paintings, they would let him go. He told the authorities he did not know who stole the paintings or where they could be hidden. In his 2001 trial, he claimed entrapment and that the FBI let the Loomis Fargo plot proceed so they could pressure him for information about the Gardner paintings. The jury found him guilty and he was actually sent to prison. Turner actually knew Gentile through Garante, and in 2010 wrote a letter to Gentile asking if he could call Turner's former girlfriend to assist in recovering the Gardner paintings. In cooperation with the FBI, Gentile spoke with Turner's girlfriend, and she told him that Turner wanted him to speak with two of his ex-convict friends in Boston. The FBI wanted Gentile to meet the men and send an FBI undercover agent with them, but Gentile did not want to cooperate further. Turner was released from prison in November 2019, 1 month after Stephen Rossetti and Merlino, the mafia boss, died in prison in 2005.
Okay.
So the last pair we have here is Vinnie Ferreira and Bobby Donati. So that's picture 29. So criminal Bobby Donati was murdered in 1991 in the midst of a gang war within the Petrarca family?
Nailed it.
Patriarcha family? I don't know. His involvement in the Gardner theft was suspected after notorious New England art thief Miles J. Connor, bringing him back full circle, after he spoke with authorities. Connor was in jail at the time of the heist, but he believed Donati and criminal Dave Houghton were the masterminds. Connor had worked with Donati in past art heists and claimed the two cases, the Gardner Museum, where Donati took interest in the finial. Connor also claimed that Houghton visited him in jail after the heist and said that he and Donati organized it and were going to use the paintings to get Connor out of jail. If this is true, they likely borrowed the idea from Connor, as he had returned art to reduce sentences in the past. Even though Donati's and Houghton's appearance did not fit the witness description, Connor suggested they probably hired lower-level gangsters to carry out the robbery. Like Donati, Houghton also died within 2 years of the robbery, though from an illness rather than murder. Connor told investigators he could assist in returning the Gardner works in exchange for the museum's posted reward and his freedom. When investigators did not give in to Connor's demands because of lack of evidence, he suggested they speak with criminal and antiques dealer William P. Youngworth. So Connor just weasels his way back in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Acting on Connor's lead, the FBI opened a case on Youngworth and conducted raids on his home and antiques store properties in the 1990s. The raids caught the attention of journalist Tom Mashberg, who began talking with Youngworth in 1997 about the theft. One night in August 1997, Youngworth called Mashberg, the reporter, and told him he had proof he could return the Gardner paintings, under the right conditions, of course. That night, Youngworth picked Mashberg from the Boston Herald offices and drove him to a warehouse in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Youngworth then led him inside a storage unit with several large cylinder tubes. He removed one painting from its tube, unrolled it, and showed it to Mashberg under a flashlight. According to Mashberg, it appeared to be the storm on the Sea of Galilee. He noticed cracking along the canvas and edges, and were able to describe that they were cut in a manner consistent with the museum reports, as well as Rembrandt's signature was there on top of the ship's rudder. Mashberg wrote about his experience in the Boston Herald, leaving out details to hide Youngworth's identity and the painting's location. He reported that his informant, presumably Youngworth, told him the robbery was pulled off by 5 men and identified 2. Donati was one of the robbers, and Houghton was responsible for moving the art to a safe house. The FBI discovered the location of this warehouse that was visited several months later, and they raided it, finding nothing. The veracity of Youngworth's claims and the authenticity of the painting shown to Mashberg is disputed. The way Mashberg described the painting as being unrolled has also been scrutinized, as the stolen paintings were covered with a heavy varnish that would not roll easily. Federal authorities and the museum began working with Youngworth after Mashberg's story was published, but Youngworth made negotiations difficult. He would not work with authorities unless his demands could be met, which included full immunity and Connor's release from jail. The authorities were skeptical of Youngworth's claims and only offered partial immunity. The United States attorney overseeing the case eventually ceased talks with Youngworth unless he could provide a more reliable evidence that he had access to the Gardner works. Youngworth again provided a vial of paint chips, reportedly from the storm on the Sea of Galilee, and 25 color photographs of the painting, as well as pictures of the painting of the lady and gentleman in black. A joint statement from the museum and federal investigators announced that the chips were not from the stolen Rembrandts, but that they did in fact test positive from being accurate to what 17th century painting oils would have been used. So
And
they're
for
not.
COVID-19.
Yeah. In 2014, investigative reporter Stephen Kurgan wrote to gangster Vincent Ferreira, Donati's superior during the gang war, inquiring if he had information about the Gardner theft. He received a call back from an associate of Ferreira who explained the FBI was wrong in suspecting the Merlino gang's involvement and claimed that Donati organized the robbery. The caller explained that Donati visited Ferreira in jail about 3 months before the theft, after the latter was charged for murder, and told Ferreira that he was going to do something to get him out of jail. 3 months later, Ferreira heard news about the Gardner theft, after which Donati visited him again and confirmed to Ferreira that he was involved in the robbery. He claimed to have buried the artwork and would start a negotiation for his release once the investigation cooled down. The negotiations never occurred because Donati was murdered. Kurkjian believes Donati was motivated to free Ferreira from prison because Ferreira could protect him in a gang war. A friend of Garanti also corroborated that Donati organized the robbery and that Donati gave the paintings to Garanti because he became concerned for his own safety. Donati was close friends with Garanti, and the two were seen at a social club in Revere shortly before the robbery with a bag of police uniforms. Dun, dun, dun!
A bag, you say?
A bag of police uniforms. My throat is so sore right now. This is so much reading. I'm almost done.
I mean, yeah.
I literally have a page left. This is such a long case. Oh my god.
I think I'm falling. I'm trying.
I know it's a lot. So Richard Abbott, the security guard, states that the only person that he has ever been shown a picture of that he thinks may match either of the two men that went into that museum that night is actually the picture of David Turner. So that's picture 28, the gentleman on the right. And he is also one of the only members of the Merlino Mafia suspects that's still alive. The rest of them have either been murdered or died in prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Likely.
So it's quite likely that like this whole Merlino operation is the ones that did it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can move on. Picture 30, the last picture. So as Gardner's will stated that nothing in her collection should be moved, the empty frames for the stolen paintings remain hanging in their respective locations in the museum as placeholders for their potential return. Because of the museum's low funds and lack of an insurance policy for theft, the director solicited help from Sotheby's and Christie's auction house to post a reward of $1 million within 3 days of the heist. This was then increased to $5 million by 1997. In 2017, it was doubled to $10 million with an expiration date set for the end of that year. This reward was extended following an outpouring of tips from the public. It is the largest bounty ever offered by a private institution, and the reward is, and I quote, for information that leads directly to the recovery of all of the items in good condition. Federal prosecutors have stated that anyone who willingly returns the items will not be prosecuted. The statute of limitations on the robbery expired in 1995 as well, so the thieves and anyone who participated in the theft cannot be prosecuted.
What a bunch of bull.
Yeah, in popular culture, fictional accounts of the robbery and what occurred to the paintings were explored on multiple television shows, including Blind Spot, The Blacklist, The Venture Bros, as well as The Simpsons.
That I might have seen.
Yeah, it's been included in the novels The Art Forger, Artful Deception, The Hidden Things, and The Mob Zone. And how I heard about it is it being covered by BuzzFeed Unsolved in February of 2018. And in October 2020, BBC4 released a documentary about searching for the art titled The $1 Billion Art Hunt. And in April of 2021, Netflix released an original 4-part documentary series about the theft called This Is a Robbery, the World's Biggest Art Heist. Which my opinion, in the 4 episodes they did, like 2.5 of the 4 were just about the suspects, which is pretty much what I had to do, the same kind of thing on my case. And really the last 2 episodes could have been condensed into 1. It was a lot of like just blah. I pretty much took maybe 1 or 2 pieces of information about it the entirety of the last 2 hours. I gathered so much more information out of the first 2 hours than the last 2. The last 2 were kind of like boring.
It's for speculation at that point.
Yeah. So from the museum website, this is copied. So it's just a call out here. So in 1990, theft of 13 works of art from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum's collection remains unsolved, although the museum's commitment to resolving the crime has never diminished since its occurrence 31 years ago. The museum, the FBI, and the U.S. Attorney's Office are still seeking viable leads that could result in safe return of the art. The museum is offering a $10 million reward for information leading directly to the safe return of the stolen works, and a share of the reward would be given in exchange for information leading to the restitution of any portion of the works. A separate reward of $100,000 is being offered for the return of the Napoleonic eagle finial. Anyone with information about the stolen works should contact the Gardner Museum directly, and their confidentiality is assured. The director of security is Anthony Amore, and you can call him at 617-278-5114, or you can email them at reward@gardnermuseum.org. So if you're listening to this and you have a Rembrandt that you would like to return to the museum, please contact Anthony Amore.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, right? Because I believe one of our listeners committed this heist. No, I'm kidding. And that's my case. That's my extremely long case that took 2 hours to record. It's done. My throat is so sore. Oh my god.
Well, I love a heist, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like that one, she was long.
Yeah, there's a lot. I literally kept sitting there being like, can I cut any of this? And then I'd be like, well, that cuts out that part, and that part's kind of cool. And then I'm like, oh my god, but that ties into this, and if you don't do this, then this doesn't make sense. Literally. And that's how I ended up with 14 pages.
We're back. They're here.
Did you
We're
say
back
that?
for more heists.
Oh yes, we took a heist hiatus because that last segment went really long. So now the next day.
Who knows how long this episode's gonna go down to? Because I don't think I can edit out any of my segments. So my segment's gonna be like just under 2 hours long.
Hope you like them long.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But it's a good episode to have long ones. You want to be in depth for a heist. You don't want to just gloss over it and not tell people stuff, because that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, a lot of them are so intricate you have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But I'm really excited for yours.
yes, you should be.
Good.
Speaking of death omens, though, as you were a minute ago, but we weren't on air.
Yeah.
We were talking about episode 1 a bit. So first last week, my sister Ressa had a bird fly into her window and scare her. So she texted me about that. She was like, it was like,
Okay.
oh, bonk. And I was like, oh no. But it cut up, whatever, it was fine. And then like 3 or 4 days later, we have those big picture windows in our living room,
Yeah.
And yeah, a bird, we heard like swamp, and a bird smacked into it, fell onto the porch. He was dazed, but he was okay. But the dog was out on the porch. Fenrir was out on the porch. So then he kind of figured out what it was and kind of was like, oh, can I go bite this? And so he kind of got a hold of the bird before Pat intercepted him. Pat was quicker on his feet. I was like staring in horror.
Oh my god.
And Pat was like, take the dog inside. So I grabbed the dog and he kind of laid the bird out in the backyard. But like by the time we could kind of get him up away from the dog and in the front yard to check on him, he was not alive. And he didn't look that injured. Like the dog hadn't really got him that bad, but I think he probably like had a heart attack. It was so sad.
Oh my god. Wow.
Robin.
Oh.
I was like horrified. And it made me think of the death omens too, because like he literally died.
That's sad. No.
I know, right? But I could tell you a fun story too, though.
Okay.
So a goose rather, sorry. Well, there was a couple. She said it was probably a mated pair, but one of them was struggling across, I think it was the White Mud. It was a busy road. And it looked like its wing was injured. So she and a couple other motorists stopped and like called animal control or what have you, and not animal control, wildlife something, And like she actually waited while they came there, and like she was able to get it into her SUV and like drive it. Well, she drove it down to the place and was like, they're like, how did you get it? Is it in a box? She's like, no. They're like, how did you get it in the truck? She's like, it was stunned. They're like, wow, they usually won't let you like pick them up. And yeah, they had to keep it there, and she's emailed them for an update, but they haven't got back to her yet. So I think that one's a little better prognosis. So that was really nice. Very Canadian
that's pretty
too.
Cool. Yeah, and they normally like a goose will like attack you, won't they?
Yeah, they can be pretty vicious. And also she said that my friend Chris said that they mate for life, like she wanted to know, should I really take them away? Because what happens to the mate? And they said the wildlife people told her, no, we'll bring him back exactly to where it left its mate, and the mate will come back to that spot until like to see if it comes back. Like it'll always come back to the place it lost its mate.
Oh, that's
I know.
heartwarming but sad at the same time.
Yeah, like it'll wait at its nest or it'll come back to where it last saw it. I was like, that's pretty smart, because if you don't know where someone is, you got to stay where put if they're looking for you. Yeah, that's cute. I think we're gonna name. She's like, there's a mating pair. They keep like, yeah, I've seen them a couple times around our work building because it's kind of in the industrial kind of business area, and there's not a whole lot around. So yeah, there's a couple geese that are there, and excuse me. She's like, we should name them. I was like, well, what about Jim and Pam?
Because you guys work at the office.
Yes, and everybody at my office loves The Office a lot.
Then it's perfect.
Yeah, there's literally a picture of a meme of Dwight like printed out on a stockroom door. Anyway, I digress. So that was all my news, and I didn't share that at the beginning of the episode, but I thought of it finally. So that's good.
Well, it introduces us to your segment, so it can be shared in the middle. That works.
we're not known for keeping on track all the time.
No, it's actually more often than not we have to record on 2 separate days because one of our cases ends up too long.
I know we're definitely still poor working Joes, as you can tell. We definitely, our schedules aren't always jiving, so we do what we can.
Yeah.
All right, I'm a little tired because definitely when we recorded our case, I knew I drank too much wine when my burps still tasted like wine this morning.
I knew that we recorded late because I woke up this morning and slept in an hour and a half because I had the day off, but I woke up and had the puffiest under eyes I've ever had in my life. I looked like I had a allergic reaction to something.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was absolutely awful. Even this other sides of my eyes, normally it's just in the corner by my nose, but it was all the way under my eyes. So puffy.
It was
Yeah,
really
I
weird.
could
You're kind of muggy, but it hasn't rained. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tried to rain for a few minutes. But
Oh no, thanks, babe. I'll have some after maybe. He tried to give me some dessert.
I had dessert for lunch. I had Oreo ice cream for lunch today, like an adult. And then I ate a salad because I realized I hadn't eaten a vegetable since Sunday. I was like, I've literally gone almost 4 full days without eating a single vegetable. So I was like, I should eat a salad.
As long as you had some protein.
It was mostly pasta and burgers. I've lived off pasta and burgers for the last 4 days. And bread and ham. And ice cream.
Chicken. Took us a while, but Pat
Nice.
was unhappy with that the rice cooked so quickly because they tell you to put the rice on and then start prepping all the vegetables, which is kind of dumb. Anyway.
Oh yeah, because prep and vegetables actually I find take quite a long time to cook.
Oh my God. It takes me an hour and a half if it says it takes you 30 minutes to do the HelloFresh meal or the recipe.
Yeah.
So let's go to Antwerp, Belgium in 2003.
Ooh, Belgium. Okay. 2003. Okay.
Yes. Oh, I should have read these over. Sorry. I'm good. I'm going to read this quote first. This is not me. This is allthat'sinteresting.com. The school, you're like, I sound so dubious now. No. According to this website, the School of Turin is located in the Antwerp World Diamond Center, the largest building in Antwerp's diamond district. Antwerp is home of the largest diamond district in the world, as it is where the vast majority of the world's rough diamonds were and are still traded. So that's cool.
Yeah. I like a diamond heist.
Shiny. So shiny. Yeah. That's from, have you seen that? Moana? And then he sings there's a crab that sings the song Shiny in a treasury room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I have kids. No.
My brother went as Moana for Halloween. As Moana. For
Your
Halloween.
Grown adult brother. Let's put it.
My either 29 or 30-year-old brother at the time went as Moana. This was a couple years ago. And then his now wife went as the crab, and she literally had she made herself with string and paper plates that she spray painted. She glued random stuff to it. And she's like, this is my crab hoard. And because she's obsessed with dinosaurs, she just glued a bunch of dinosaurs to paper plates and then spray painted it gold and just strapped it to her back and then just wore all black. And then had crab claws. But my brother wore a tube top and a hula skirt and then walked around going, Moana, for 3
Oh
hours
my
straight.
God, not even singing the beautiful songs.
No, he just walked around going, Moana.
In a hula skirt in Edmonton in October.
Yeah, yeah. It
Nice.
was pretty funny. Everybody loved it. Yeah.
Oh my God, we should definitely do a segment or something where we talk about or ask people what their worst/best Halloween costumes are.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I got a few.
Okay.
Yeah. Zombie and of Green Gables, anyone? Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, wow. I love that.
So, the setup. Pro thief Leonardo Notar Bartolo, I think.
Nailed it.
I think he's Italian.
Leonardo.
I'm just gonna guess. Yes, I'm gonna call him Leo a whole lot because it's shorter. So, Leonardo Notar Bartolo began to set his plan in motion in 2000, renting out the largest office building in the Diamond Center and using his jewelry business as a cover. So, from his vantage point there, he memorized every detail of the building's security. For a little fun background on Leo, he started his thieving career at 6 years old when he was sent out for milk and came back with 8 lira of the milkman's money. He think maybe he didn't have milk or he just discovered a passion. Something. He went on to steal cars as a teen and developed a network of contacts with special skills in the criminal world. In the criminal world. So he knows some people. He's got a group. He knows a guy. Several guys.
Yeah.
I know a guy. One of the dealers he sells stolen goods to approaches him about a job. He wanted Leo to find out if the vault at the Antwerp Diamond Center was secure enough to stash some of his own treasures. So he asked Leo if he could find out, and he would pay Leo $100,000 for the. So if he could figure out, if it was crackable, like I think he's getting $100,000, and he has to come back with the with the what's the word I'm looking for? I just didn't want to say information again. The result.
And say intel.
Yeah.
Intel's a good word.
Intelligence, of which I have none right now. So, Leo went in under the ruse of wanting to check out some jewels for sale. He wore a camera on a highlighter pen in his front pocket, and he took pictures of the security features. Tiny camera.
Yeah, it's very Mission Impossible. I like it.
I was gonna say James Bond, but yeah. That's funny. Or Austin Powers, if you want to go with the spook variety, where he's like, I have some dental floss.
Or Johnny English, or Get Smart.
Oh, yeah.
Or there's a
I
lot
just
of.
watched one called MacGruber the other day under the advice of my cool supervisor, Nate, who may listen. I did send him the link. Hey, Nate.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway.
MacGruber.
Yes, MacGruber. It was not bad. I enjoyed it. Like funny people, right? The SNL cast and some like wrestlers I knew too.
Yeah, because that MacGruber started as an SNL skit that kept reoccurring, so they decided to make a movie.
Right, like Wayne's World, I guess. Yeah. So I was told. So he assembles his motley Ocean's 11 team. You know, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Don Cheadle. No.
Yeah.
The team. Ba-bam! Elio Donario, nicknamed the Genius, the electronics and alarms expert. Ferdinando, the Monster, Finotto, mechanic and lockpicker. You have Pietro Speedy Tavano, the ride or die, aka childhood friend.
Okay.
And the King of Keys, a mysterious key forger, known only as an older man, no other name.
An older man.
They never knew his name. The other guys didn't even get a well, they got a nickname, King of Keys. That's it.
Yeah. No, I'm happy your case actually has a crew. Mine has two dudes that are never known about and don't even have nicknames or anything. So I'm happy yours has cool nicknames and is actually like a whole crew.
It's like, yay, they must have got caught because we know all the details really good.
Yeah. Old man.
Yeah. Also, I'm kind of maybe doing two sort of medium dives. It won't be that super long or anything. I mean,
It won't be 2 hours.
no,
It won't
I
be
don't
2
know.
hours and 14 pages long.
Yeah, I love it. Like it could be. There were so many cool ones.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So note that Speedy guy, Pietro, he was
Mhm.
a childhood friend. So I think because he doesn't seem to have any discernible talents in the group, they were like a little skeptical of him. The rest of the group were kind of like, does he need to come? Excuse me, he's a bit known for like being a little sketchy at the end of jobs.
Oh,
And
okay.
Leo's like, no, he's good, he's cool, he's solid, he's my guy. I trust him with my life. So
Okay, but does he bring anything to the table or is he just baggage?
his job is to like basically like keep in touch with Leo while the rest of them go in.
Oh my god, so he's just baggage. He's so useless.
You're like, yeah, he's kind of like anybody could do it. Like, I don't know, like the getaway driver. I don't know. He's not really,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought he was
So,
going to be the getaway driver because his name was Speedy.
yeah, I know.
And then he's not. Okay.
Who knows about that, what that means? Maybe he's quick at other things, if you know what I'm saying. So, the dealer guy that had initially approached Leo took him to a replica of the vault he had created based on Leo's pen pictures. He created it for their practice runs, a model, just like in like Ocean's 11 1, I think it
Yeah.
is.
Oh my god, I love that. Okay.
Oh, I know.
Just don't mind this warehouse with a giant vault built in it. Okay. The rest of the warehouse is empty, but this giant vault in the middle of it. Just ignore that.
Love it. I'm like, is it hot in here over here? I'm just like, girl.
Yeah, we love a good heist. I love a well-planned, intricate heist.
It's hot and sexy. So it begins to go down the weekend of February 15th, 2003. De Beers, you know De Beers, the diamond people.
Yep.
Yeah. They just dropped off their monthly shipment of rough, unpolished gems that had been mined from around the world, including as far as like South Africa. I mean, because we know that happens there.
Mhm.
Friday night, the vault doors closed at 7 p.m. Not long before that, Leo had paid the vault a visit to go to the safe deposit boxes area. The guards recognized him from previous, visits and paid him no real attention. He entered the safe deposit box area, took out a can of hairspray, and quickly sprayed a fine mist around the heat and motion detection sensors. This temporarily prevented the sensor from detecting fluctuations in temperature by covering it with a slight sticky film. So it would only go off if it sent heat and motion. So he had essentially put it out of commission.
Okay, so he sprayed the sensors, like
the heat and motion sensors with hairspray. Yeah.
It's not like where they spray it and then they're like, look, now I can see it. Whatever.
Oh, right, with the like lines, the beams of laser. Yeah, no. I think
okay, so he sprayed the sensors. Okay.
Yeah. Saturday night after, so that was like a test run on Friday night to see if he could mess with the sensors. So
Okay.
Saturday night, yeah, just after midnight, Notar Bartolo, Leo. Guess I felt like writing out his last name again for some reason. Waited to the side while his team went in. It's like Leo DiCaprio. No.
Yeah.
Oh, he could so play him in the movie. Actually, the one article I read was like he had been interviewed in jail, and they said he had like a white what do they call that when it's just a little goatee, just a little strip, the little douchey strip. What do they call that?
I don't know.
Forget. A chin strap or something. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, I can like totally picture him. Like he's probably like tanned, like his like hair's like white, they said. Like he's probably got his his shirt buttons open, and maybe can they wear gold in jail? Okay.
You've thought about this a lot.
I pictured him, yeah.
His shirt's unbuttoned and he's got gold chains on.
Like the Guido look, the Italian stallion.
All I picture when I think of that is just nasty chest hair.
Basically.
Yeah.
It's okay. We don't have any listeners in Italy yet.
Yeah, sorry.
People are like, hey, I have Italian descent. Like, shit, sorry. We love you.
Yes.
Okay. Saturday night, just after midnight. Oh yeah, I said this. Leo waited to the side while his team went in. So the King of Keys picked a lock to a building next door to the Diamond Center, where they exited out to a back garden that did not have security cameras. They used a ladder that had been previously hidden to access a balcony on the Diamond Center. So they kind of went in next door and through the back because there was no cameras there.
Okay.
And got up onto a balcony of the Diamond Center. They sent the genius up to a higher, smaller terrace that controlled the heat sensing system for the balcony below. He approached it wearing a homemade polyester shield so it would not sense his heat, and he disabled it. I could picture that too. Just like, I don't know, I almost picture like just like a homemade, like rough looking science project shield. I don't know.
I would, yeah, you know how they talk about like, are you able to actually like cover your body heat and everything with mud? Like they say you can? Like, is that actually a real thing?
It is fairly insulating. I know you can like throw some mud around a friggin' pigeon that you caught and bake it. And it'll just, it turns and cracks. But that would just mean it's like not heat resistant.
No, but it's not like heat conductive or something. Isn't it? I don't know.
No idea. Cats is full of electricity. No, I don't know.
Anyway.
Get the joke and it will be my sister. Sorry. So, oh yeah, so his homemade shield, his little sheet metal. So he goes up to disable all the sensors so they could all enter the balcony below without because even the balcony is heat censored, but that's why this guy had to go up onto a higher balcony and disable the lower balcony. It's very complex. He also disabled the sensor on a nearby window, which they entered. The team had to get through 10 layers of security, including Doppler radar. I don't know, maybe that's the line things. Infrared heat detectors, a seismic sensor, a magnetic field, and a lock with millions of possible combinations.
Oh my god, yeah, this is full on like an Ocean's movie.
I didn't really know any of these details or really know about it, so I really enjoyed the research.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here I actually found on wired.com a full list because that one was just kind of a half list. So like the 10 layers of security were combination dial, a keyed lock, a seismic sensor, a locked steel grate, a magnetic sensor, an external security camera, and that was just the door. And then in the vault, there's a keypad for disarming sensors, a light sensor, an internal security camera, and a heat and motion sensor. So it's up the wazoo protected.
Yeah, wow.
They disabled the heat sensing infrared detector, covered the security cameras with bags. That just seems lazy. No.
They didn't even black them out with spray paint? Come on.
God, yeah, something fancy. Yeah, it didn't even say what kind of bags. I don't know.
This is just my sandwich bag lunch bag.
Little paper bag.
Yeah.
They entered the vault door and used a slab of aluminum to tape the door's magnetic plates side by side to the antechamber wall to trick the system into thinking the doors were still closed and the magnetic field was still intact. Don't ask me any follow-up questions.
Yeah, I was sitting here with like, if you could have seen my facial expression, you would have been like, she has a question that's like, what was all of that?
My final sentence to that paragraph is just, this assured no alarms would go off. It's like that. Okay, full disclosure. There's a meme with a lady and there's equations all around her. One.
That's me. That's 100% me right now.
They said something about it on a recent episode of Wine and Crime, and I, being an idiot, was like, I have to comment. They keep saying that meme lady, but it looks like Julia Roberts. I'm pretty sure I looked up and it was Julia Roberts, and I was like, they keep saying that, but it's Julia Roberts. And then I commented something else, like, love you guys, you're so funny, or something else. And this other girl was like, no, honey, I think they mean this. It was from a Brazilian soap opera, and it's a meme that has nothing to do with math, and it just blew up and went viral. And she's like, it's not Julia Roberts. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not Julia Roberts. I can picture her very clearly in my head right now, and she's not Julia Roberts.
But no, there's a very good similarity in my mind. It's like with the mouth and the eyes, because she has such a distinct wide mouth, and like, I don't know, it's just, it is very closed in on the face, so you can't really see the hair or anything, to be fair, in my defense. It's very close up. And I did think it was briefly Julia Roberts. I thought I confirmed it by like Googling Julia Robert meme, and it comes up, but that, I guess it doesn't mean it's her.
Weird.
Yeah. So that's funny because she's in Ocean's 11 too, or Ocean's 13 anyway. Okay.
Yeah, she's the wife of somebody, isn't she?
Yeah, the ex-wife of George Clooney's character Danny Ocean, and then it's so meta or whatever because they joke that she looks like Julia Roberts, and then at one point she has to pretend to be Julia Roberts.
Yes, I loved that.
That was cute. So
more movies should do that.
Sorry.
I feel like that's something that Ryan Reynolds would do, but he's done it so many times where he's already like made fun of himself.
I think that was a BuzzFeed list I saw today. It was like times actors portrayed themselves and were like really awesome at it. And I didn't click the bait, but the top picture was Prince when he was on New Girl, and I was like, oh yeah, that was funny. I just watched that the other day.
Yeah.
They like go to a party with Prince, and he gets stuck out on the balcony with Nick and Jess, and like starts giving them relationship advice. It's really funny. Okay. So they found a key to the vault in a tiny box next to the door. Police were unable. There's a whole door. The door had 6 things of security, and the vault, yeah, the key is
right beside it.
Yeah.
in a little box. That's the equivalent of putting your home key in a fake rock right beside your front door, or like under your front doormat.
If your front doormat has 6 layers of security, I guess. Yeah. But then police were unable to determine. So there's key to the vault, but somehow the vault also has a combination access code. I think that's the millions of combinations one.
Yeah.
And they weren't really sure how they were able to crack that. But later, in an interview, Leo said a tiny camera was used to record the combination one morning when it was opened. So once the code was cracked, they could use the key.
Oh, okay.
Cameras. But it was like a long con for him, because remember he had a property in the same strip mall or whatever, and he was like, yeah, I'm a jeweler, and he was there and he was buying things and checking out security every time he would go into the vault, or not the vault, but the safety deposit box area. He'd be checking things out, you know. The vault is open, but they still had to throw off the heat and light sensors inside and open the safe deposit boxes. The monster opened a grate in the ceiling of the antechamber to access the vault's security system. The hairspray that was concealing their own heat signatures in the antechamber would only work so long, so he had to work quickly and try not to raise his heart rate too much, lest it set off the sensor in the ceiling, I think.
Oh, okay.
Very complicated. There's a lot of sensors involved. It's like they have, you know, it's like that intense. It would make a really great movie. Like, you only have so long to disable it, but at the same time, stop sweating because you can't raise the temperature. I could just picture like a bead of sweat about to like fall onto a, you know, like Mission Impossible when he has to like rappel in from the ceiling. It's like you can't touch anything. No, that bead of sweat is gonna fall.
Yeah.
So he had to do some mad electrical wiring, cutting through the plastic coating of the wires emitting the signal, and then I think like splicing a new piece of wire in to reroute the signal without interrupting it. He didn't actually cut the wires themselves. He cut the plastic coating around the wires and then did some magician shit.
Okay.
Because of the light, it's craziness, I tell you. Because of the light sensor sensitivity, they could still only turn on their flashlights for brief seconds, but after a few hours of opening bags and boxes and loot, they had over 100 duffel bags stuffed full of gold and jewels in their safety deposit bags.
Oh my God. Okay, so your guys, just like mine, were in there for a really long time.
Mm-hmm. It's a big job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like everything was in bags, which I don't know much about safety deposit boxes, go figure, but it sounds like they were difficult to get into, so some of them, they just took like the bags whole. It's not like they just like went in and started dumped out all the jewels into bags they had. They just like took it as is.
Yeah.
So on Sunday morning around 5:30 a.m., after opening 109 boxes, they figured they had enough. It probably totaled anywhere from 100 to 400 million. So that's a range.
Yeah, that's a huge range. Oh my God.
They grabbed videotapes and exited onto a side street. Back at a rendezvous apartment, they discovered many of the safety deposit boxes, or bags rather, were in fact empty. While they had been told the loot would be about 100 million, it looked closer to be 20 million. I got that particular factoid from the Haunted Heart, just saying.
So it's either 100 million to 400 million or 20 million.
It was basically like they had expected to find around 100 million. And they say when they got it, it was closer to 20 million.
Okay, or so they say.
It's obviously never been recovered because that I think that was a different website that said anywhere from 100 to 400 that they made
Yeah.
off of it. Yeah. So Leo wondered if the dealer had asked him about the project, the safety and security of the vault. He wondered if that person had tipped off some of the other dealers that held valuables in that particular vault, so they could claim they had been robbed, but actually they had tucked their diamonds safely away. So they were possibly part of an insurance scam and didn't know about it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that though when I read it. I was like, wait, what? Okay, like they just got maybe duped by, they thought they're the criminals, but someone else is, I don't know. I don't think like a criminal, I guess.
Yeah, because insurance scams are, for that kind of stuff, they're probably like insured for the value of like the whole like vault or something. And
Right,
they
and who's to
probably
prove
just
that if
have it like
Mhm.
estimated the value of it like quarterly or like annually. So only like once a year would they have to provide a number. So then if that
Okay.
number went down suddenly, then they'd probably still get paid out that number, even if that's not exactly what was in there at the time.
Oh, and you would know you'd learned about insurance.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because how could you
Especially when
prove
you're,
that like what was in
yeah.
there if it was stolen?
Yeah, and all the hundreds of boxes, they're not going to ask you for that number like every week or something. They don't have time
Mhm.
to deal with that and calculate those kind of things. So they're probably only going to ask like on average what's stored in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So this isn't good news. Leo takes a soothing shower while the rest eat some salami and other cured meats and sandwiches.
What a way to celebrate. A shower and some salami and cured meat. They're so Italian.
I love that detail because I love a good sandwich.
I love sandwiches. I would. I'd be like, get me a cheese plate and some cured meat.
Oh, yeah, like we got that Italian center shop here that makes a good sandwich on like the big fat buns, and basically all that's on it is meat and like maybe a little bit of spicy, I don't know, some sort of vegetable goulash. And they're
Yeah.
huge. I'm like, how can I eat this? So good. They divvied up the loot that was there and they went their separate ways. Um, like, because they were, remember, in Belgium, and they probably all, like, I know that Leo lived in the Alps, so they all had to head back towards Italy. The team, yeah, they're splitting up. Next sentence, team splits up and heads back to Italy. Jesus. Read ahead, Alanna. I usually do that when I'm reading books. But anyway. So it was Pietro or Speedy's job to get rid of the trash from the venture, like receipts and jewelry bags. Oh, he's got two jobs. I forgot. Communication and trash.
And
But
trash cleanup. Oh my god. He's so stupid.
they're like, it's not a body. He can handle it. Nope. He
It's just some
simply
sandwich bags and some cured meat.
he simply threw the trash in the woods. Like
Oh
they had
my
been
god.
he had been
He,
driving with Leo from what I read, and then he feels like got kind of nervous, and Leo was like, "What? What's the matter?" And he's like, "No, just pull over here." And they're like, "No, we're supposed to like wait till we get, I don't know, out of the country or something." And he's like, "No, I'll just be right back." And he just like dumped it all.
no, oh my
Yeah.
god, get an oil drum, some lighter fluid. You
Oh yeah, they were supposed to
burn,
burn it. You're right. You're right.
yeah, burn
Yeah,
that
they
shit
were
to
supposed to burn
ash, and then you literally bury the ash like a foot deep.
it.
Oh my
He's
god.
thought about it.
No!
So,
Oh.
local caretaker, I think it was, yeah, this guy's land, or he's a caretaker of this land. He found it. This guy was pissed off with teens throwing their trash around after their parties and burning things, so he called the cops. We're like, you again? Yeah. What did they burn? Okay. What's the trash, Mr. Whatever? Okay. Oh, wait, what's that? A business card and receipts for jewelry?
Those
They're like,
darn kids with their partying and robbing jewelry vaults. Gosh darn it.
once they realized what they had, they sent off the salami packaging for DNA testing.
No.
Oh.
Oh.
They also found Elio Denario's business card. They tracked the debris back to Leo's apartment in Antwerp because they'd found a torn up receipt with Leo's name on it, and they puzzle pieced it back together. And they found the salami receipt, which led them to video surveillance of the guy they called the monster. So it's all coming back to them.
It's the salami, it'll get you every time.
I love that fact.
So
I was like, you guys
stupid.
should have put that in the show notes. I would have been like, wait, salami, what? I mean, yeah, I did
Great.
listen to at least one podcast, but I don't know. I think I found this on a list of cool heists or something. Because I know I kept having to, there was a list of like 10 of them, and like one of the first ones was the gardener, and I was like, skip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Police surrounded Leo's house in the Alps. His son answered the door and refused to let them in. His son was frantically calling his dad as his dad was on his way back to Antwerp to drop off the rental car. But his cell phone, Leo's cell phone, was turned off as his granddaughter had accidentally turned the ringer off the night before.
Oh my god.
So his son's trying to call him. He's a real family man, as you can tell. You can just see him, like, picture the granddaughter hanging off him, playing with granddad's phone. So Leo has no idea. He's going to drop off the rental car to Antwerp, and they actually caught up with Leo at the Diamond Center, where he was making an appearance to stave off any suspicion.
Oh my god.
I know, it's great. It would make a great movie.
Yeah, can you imagine how angry the people watching would be? And they'd be like, the fucking salami, man!
And this, he pretended at first that he couldn't speak French and didn't know what they were asking him. And didn't know what apartment he was talking about.
Oh my god.
But
No speaking of Frankie. No speaking of English.
yeah, no kidding, eh? It's like, no. They got him, but the cops got him to bring them to the apartment where they did confirm the evidence and arrested him. And they eventually arrested all of them except for the King of Keys. He was never caught. That's probably why we don't know his name.
Yeah, the old
And
man, he didn't eat any of the salami because he has
he was
dentures.
smart. Yeah.
And his dentures couldn't make it through the very Italian cured meat. So,
He was just like, I know better than to get this Speedy guy is gonna crack. I am. Not telling these guys the real name. So Speedy got 5 years. Fanato the monster got 5 years. Denario, I think that was the genius, got 5 years, and Leo got 10. And that's that one.
wow, I would have thought they would have gotten more jail time.
Yeah, and like the loot wasn't recovered, as far as I know. But I don't know
Okay.
the difference if they can't put a value on it. I'm not sure. We should.
Well, if it wasn't recovered, I would have put them in prison for life so that none of them have access to it. Because, haha, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
If it was recovered, I would have been like, okay, you guys can get out in like 10 to 15 or 20 or whatever. But if it's not recovered, I'd be like, rot in prison.
I don't know.
Because I wouldn't want them getting out
Guys-
and then digging it up or something and then enjoying it. Nah.
Nah. I don't know, but maybe they were charming. Maybe we'll find out next with the next guy how charm can get you places.
Sure.
So I went looking for some cool Canadian heisters to see if there was anyone with a tale worth telling.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm awkward. I'm always awkwardly pausing. Gather round, children. This the Great Gold Heist of 1966. I'm clearly obsessed with gems and gold.
Yeah, you're going pretty classic.
I love to watch The Curse of Oak Island, and they're always hoping they find gold too.
Yeah.
So, Ken Leishman lived in Manitoba and worked as a pilot, among other professions. In his first foray into the professions of criminal, does that make sense? Sorry. In his first foray, I know, I got it. Into the profession of being a criminal, he stole furniture for his apartment when he got married at the age of 18. He consequently spent part of his honeymoon in jail.
Wow.
This is the charming guy. Just wait. He got his life a bit back on track after that and took some flying lessons and began working as a flying farm machinery repairman. He didn't bother to get an actual pilot license, however, because why? He already knows how. He's like, whatever.
Oh my god.
So the wife and he start having kids. They eventually end up having 7 in total. That's crazy.
Yeah,
He,
thanks.
yeah. He is well dressed, always smiling, well liked, but struggling a bit for the money. Probably all the children.
Yeah. A lot of mouths to feed. A lot of furniture to steal.
Yeah, it's like that. I think there's an old show or something. 8 is enough. It's like 7 was enough.
Yeah. 5
He had taken
was enough.
1 was enough for me. So he had taken a job at a cookware company and it closed. That was sad.
Hmm.
A month later, his criminal career began in earnest. He flew 1,500 kilometers from Winnipeg to Toronto in a small plane in the winter. He spent the night in a luxury hotel, went into the TD Bank, the Toronto Dominion Bank, pretending to apply for a loan. He gets in the office and pulls the gun on the bank manager and demands $10,000. The manager wrote him a check for the money. Yes, he got that loan.
Oh my god. I hope the bank all the bank manager has to do is, or I guess he can't really cancel the check, can you?
He's not gonna. He's gonna cash it right now. He asked the manager some personal questions about his life and family so that he could convince the teller that they knew each other. Remember, this is the 50s. So, I don't know.
I hope he gave them fake information. Did he give them fake information? Just be like, my maiden name is, my home address is, my kids are Bob and Susie.
And fake information? No, I gave him real information. It's the trusting era. And this guy.
Oh my god, even on a dude that has a gun on you, you're not even gonna lie to them?
This guy's charming. He's not actually violent.
But he's got a gun on you and he's asking you personal questions. And he just asked for a check for $10,000. Oh my god.
So the teller cashed the check. She was convinced that they knew each other. And Ken left, getting the manager to actually walk him to his car. And then Ken thanked the man and he drove away. See, he's nice. He said thank you.
Oh my god. No.
He flew back to Winnipeg. I like this guy. I'm just putting it out there. I don't care. I think he's cool.
Oh
Wait,
yeah,
he gets the
he's
gold.
fine. I have more beef with this bank manager at the moment. I'm sorry. I have no beef with the criminal at the moment. I have beef with this bank manager.
Nobody needs to give you that book, The Gift of Fear. You're like, I fucking trust my gut. I'd rather be
Yeah.
seen as rude than dead. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I know. Yeah. We gotta be tough, us women. So,
Yeah.
just just a few months later, in March 1958, he tried the theft scheme again, but he was foiled when a teller hit the emergency alarm button and either tripped him or he tripped on a passerby outside, depending on which, version you're reading. It was kind of a bumblebutt there.
Okay.
He gets 12 years for this attempted theft. So that's cool. Poor kids are without a daddy. But don't worry, he gets out in about 3 years for his good behavior. He was a model prisoner.
Yeah, because there's no banks to rob in prison. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
On March 11th, yeah, he got out in about 3 years. So he was told he was not allowed to leave Manitoba once he got out. And he did lay low for a while because that was, let's see, he went in March 1958. 3 years later, that's what, the 61, right? So he lays low for about 5 years. So I tried to write March 11th, but it just says on Mach 11. Like MACH. Anyway, on March 11th, 1966, he was arrested in Vancouver, BC for breaking parole by being in Vancouver. And a surprise twist, however, he was being investigated by police in connection with the biggest gold heist in Canada that had occurred just over a week before. So, this is why they were investigating him. Ken Leishman, or Leishman, however I said it before, I'd like to be consistent, but I can't remember.
I did that with my case. I'm like, wait, how did I pronounce this like 5 minutes ago? That's why I don't look up pronunciations of words, because I literally won't remember after I use it the first time.
It's like that guy, Ken, knew that gold bullion was flown from mines in northwest Ontario to Winnipeg, which is the nearest major airport, as weird as it sounded to me at first. But,
Okay.
yeah, when I looked, because it was like northwestern Ontario, but a little tiny place that is nowhere near Toronto or Ottawa airport. So the gold bullion, like the raw gold or whatever, it would later be picked up from the big Winnipeg airport and then taken to the National Mint in Ottawa. So it's just a waypoint, just a layover.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows about this because he flies planes or whatever. So he starts his plan and he gets his team of 4 on board. A team, another team.
Ocean's 4.
Ken Leishman's 4. One man's job is to wait for a plan. For a
Oh my
plane,
god, I just
sorry.
understood why the movies are named that.
Because his name's Danny Ocean.
And then he has a team of that number of people. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who. It's like Julia Roberts joins, and then maybe the bad guy joins their original enemy. Who's that played by? That Andy Garcia. He joins.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they always join one, so it goes up one. That's true. I didn't think
Wow.
about that too much, but like I knew it's like individually that's what it was called, but
Yeah, I just thought, wow, it's so weird that these ocean movies start with Ocean's 11. Like one's where's 1 through 10? Like, I need 10 prequels
Oh,
immediately.
movies. So I remember his name's Ocean. Like he's a cool character. You're
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
I love Logan Lucky and them calling that movie Ocean 7-Eleven.
Yes.
That
Literally
makes me
everybody.
so happy.
Yeah, I've recommended it too. I was gonna say, or like, love it.
Yeah. We need some what? We need some gummy bears, some salt, and like something else now.
Is
This
it
is a
Daniel Craig
bomb.
that says that?
Yeah, because it makes like a bomb or something ridiculous, and it's like, oh my god.
And he's changing in the back seat, like, no peeking. I said no peeking.
That movie's
Okay,
amazing. I love it. Okay.
I know. Oh, all right. Not sponsored by Ocean's 11. Good lucky.
Yeah.
So, one man's job is to wait for a plane filled with gold to take off from the tiny Red Lake Airport. That's the airport where the mines are. And he's going to alert the others when the plane's in the air. So on March 1st, that call came. The plane had just taken off for the 3-hour flight to Winnipeg. So Leishman had the two other guys disguise themselves as Air Canada employees because he himself was too well known for the theft. He's, a criminal. So they stole an Air Canada truck and they met the plane, explaining there had been a change of plans and this plane had been chartered specifically so they could take the gold right away instead of waiting for the regularly scheduled flight. And they bought it because they had the uniforms, the truck, and the proper looking waybills, which are passenger or cargo lists.
Oh, okay.
So they had the
That I would
paperwork.
probably buy, yeah. If people just showed up and were like, you should load it onto this plane instead of waiting for the official plane, I'd be like, yeah, bud, sure.
Looking like you're wearing a costume, yeah. But
Yeah.
they
With
got
your fake mustache falling off.
porn stash.
Like my guy. His fake mustache was falling off, and it's like, oh my god.
I forgot. Oh no.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun editing that one, I think, because I might not remember all of it.
There's a lot. There's so much. That's why I'm like, I can't take any of this out because all of it's gold. Like everything from the fake mustache to the dude quitting because his band is taking off and he wants to be in the band. Like,
And that man was Tommy Lee. No. All right. So they drove away with about $385,000 at the time, $3 million today.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Sorry.
like, that's good. 300K in the 60s is great.
Fun fact, scot-free originated from the Scandinavian word skat, which means tax or payment. The word mutated into Scot as the name of redistributive taxation meant to provide relief to the poor during the 10th century. Gingersoftware.com.
Oh, okay.
I always
Interesting.
wondered if it meant Scot like a Scottish person, but apparently not. It's like you wonder if it's a capital S. It's not. It's not a person, like a person named Scott.
Yeah, like one time Scott was released from prison and they're like, Scott, you're free. And then it got abbreviated to Scott Free.
Exactly.
The world's most famous Scott is now free.
So there was one little problem. They had abandoned the truck without wiping it down for fingerprints.
It's the salami packaging all over again.
Here's what not to do.
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah. I don't know if it was Speedy's fault this time.
Oh my god. Yeah, I hope he's not involved. But I hope the old man, the key guy, is. Because he deserves it.
I don't know. Maybe he is this guy. No. I can't remember my own time frames now.
He could be. He could be a young man. And now he's an old man in the 2003 case. He could be a young man in this case.
I suppose.
Dun,
Well, okay, never mind. We'll see.
dun, dun, dun.
Well, they already suspected Ken, so they started going through his known contacts and eventually found the gold buried in a backyard.
Oh my god.
On March 20th, he was arrested on charges of conspiracy and robbery, which I thought was weird because I thought robberies usually had to involve violence. He simply had like a threat of violence, which is what it got. And then he was like,
yeah,
"Bah!"
I'm not sure.
So he goes to jail. Da-da. But wait, there's more. He later organized a breakout of 10 prisoners of a massive manhunt. He and 3 of the others stole a plane and flew to Gary, Indiana.
Oh my god.
That must be when people started calling him the Flying Bandit.
I love that.
The Flying Bandit! So, unfortunately for Ken or Leishman or whatever we're calling him, he was recognized by his local bartender in Gary, Indiana, I guess, and police converged on the place. After a, quote, brief shootout and standoff, he was, brief shootout, a couple of shots. Taken back to Manitoba, he arrived to a cheering crowd and descended from the plane, still smiling.
Oh my god.
There is a picture. He literally looks so suave. The other guy with him that's in cuffs looks like mad, but he still has his like fedora on. He just looks so dapper.
Okay, I can get behind it if he looks dapper while he's being arrested. That's always my favorite. When people look happy when they're being arrested, it's kind of great.
I feel like I would be one of those like housewives that like started writing to him in jail, like, "You're so cute." Oh wait, he's got a wife. Never mind. Ba, ba, ba. And okay. So he was incarcerated. So after he had organized a breakout, they decided to lock him up by himself in a place called the Old Bond Street Jail in Winnipeg.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I feel like it must be really old now. I think it's not in use. Like if he's only one person there, it must be an old small jail. So there he was, and he eventually managed to open a locked, supposedly foolproof gate. He took down 3 guards and escaped over a fence.
Oh my god. Where he stole a plane and then stole the Queen's jewels and flew to Alaska.
Is this Con Air? No. I love Con Air. All right. He was picked up at a phone booth just a couple of hours later. I like to think he was calling his wife. No, I don't know.
Honey, get the car. I just broke out of jail.
Get the kids, all of them.
Yeah.
So
Pile everybody into the minivan. Come pick me up.
So he went back to jail, then he was released in 1974. He moved to Red Lake. That's where the mines were, the gold, remember? In Ontario.
Oh my god.
No, he just settled down. He moved to there in 1977. He became chairman of the local Chamber of Commerce, and he started flying an air ambulance. So that's
Did
cool.
he finally get his pilot's license then?
Oh my god, I feel like you'd have to for an air ambulance.
Yeah.
So, final thing. In 1979, he was piloting one such medevac mission when his plane disappeared, along with him and the patient and the medical assistant. Unfortunately. Sorry.
Hmm.
There's no way to preface that. It's just kind of sad, yeah.
I was gonna
The
make a
wreckage-
joke about the Bermuda Triangle until I knew like the patient and a medical assistant and somebody else disappeared along with him.
Yeah, presumably somewhere in like Ontario. There's so many woods there. So much woods? I don't know. What are words? The wreckage was found the following year, but his body was not recovered, only the other two.
Mm.
So he was declared officially dead on the 16th of December, 1980. Later, another man took on similar acts and the name the Flying Bandit. And that's the story of the biggest gold heist in Canadian history and the biggest prison breakout in Manitoba history.
Ooh, you got two there. That's cool.
And bam! Buried that lead right up in there. No. Oh, nice. I'm glad you liked
I
it
like
because
yours.
I stopped myself. I'm like, oh, I'm a kid and I always couldn't choose at the store, and my mom would be like, oh, what, you can't choose between the chocolate bar or the bag of chips. No, and I ended up getting both because I was so indecisive. So I did 2 cases.
No, I liked it. It covered everything. So we had a crazy art heist. We had a cool, like, gem diamond robbery, and then a gold heist.
Yeah. And
Yeah, and prison breaks.
Went to like at least 3 different places.
Yeah.
We went all of them. Oh, nice.
Yeah, because mine was Boston. Boston.
Oh.
I can't do an accent unless I'm saying car.
Yeah, like that commercial. Oh, you park the car around here. Oh, self-park? Self-park.
Oh, I love that commercial.
I was like, wait, I can get it. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that was cool. And now I'm even more excited because we have a Patreon coming up and a cryptid episode, you guys.
Yeah, our next Patreon we're doing is Edmund Kemper, and it's
The third.
Yeah, the third, the co-ed killer or the co-ed butcher.
Yeah, I'm sure you all know. He's awesome.
Yeah,
in my
and
opinion.
then he's very interesting, I think, from
yeah, exactly, in that way.
all angles. Yeah, so that's gonna have a ton of information. It's gonna be a really cool episode, I think, because there's a lot to talk about with him. And then,
as we proved with our many Edmund Kemper tangents in that one episode.
my accidental rants, my unintentional rants.
Oh my God, I saw a meme today. It's what's his nuts on The Office? Kevin? It's like me trying to keep a lid on my true crime and serial killer knowledge, and he's carrying that big bucket of chili. He just spills it, and it's like, oh yes, just talking random true crime to people or whatever, or supernatural,
Yeah, I am happy to say though, in the research I did, for my part, there's a couple things that I learned about that I did not know from anything I had ever heard about him before.
Ooh. That's pretty surprising.
And it was like talked about in multiple sources, including the interviews that I downloaded that we're going to be inserting into certain parts of it. So obviously, if he himself was talking about it in the interviews, it has to be true. And I had absolutely no idea. So that I found really, really cool.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for the reveal. So
yeah, you definitely don't know about it because it wasn't covered in like the Mindhunters TV show or anything like that either. They never talked about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, where do we get that? Where can we access that? I'm just saying the Ed Camphor you can get for the low price of $1 a month on our Patreon.
I think
head
it was
on
$2.
over.
Isn't it $2 a month?
It is $2, you're right. It's like, well, $2 Canadian. So
I think that's $1.25 US.
Probably. But
Or no, it'd
anyway,
be
yeah.
$1.50. Because you lose 25 cents, don't you?
I can't think of it that way. Apple would always ask me to when we sold foreign currency at AMA, and I was like, the rate is right there. It's like, there it is. It's like 1.36 for every American dollar. It was always something stupidly high. Anyway. So there's that. There's the Patreon, and we also, we got the Cryptid episode coming.
Yeah, that'll be next week. And
That'll
then,
be
if you join our Illuminati, which is our Patreon group, we're calling you guys the Illuminati.
Yup.
And it's naughty as in naughty and nice, so you're the Illuminati. That'll be the second Patreon exclusive episode that we released. So you can, if you join, you still get access to the first one, which will remind you is available. I think it was like 2.5 hours long. I can't quite remember. And it's all about secret government projects. So we had a lot of fun with that episode too. Yeah.
It was
There's
definitely
also a bunch of bloopers. Based on how our recording's going and us constantly drinking carbonated drinks, apparently. We're gonna have a burp reel at some point, which I finally got to contribute to. They're actually pretty impressive.
That is true. And, sometimes they just come from out of nowhere. What can you do? You got some foibles.
Sometimes it's in the middle of a sentence.
But yeah, the Patreon content is gonna be regular. We're gonna do the two episodes a month, so that is pretty cool. I want to definitely shout that out always. So we appreciate every listen, and also if anybody has the iPhones or the things that let you rate and review, which I never have because I have a Huawei. But
you can
that up in the gets us views. Why do I always say views, Grandma?
Listen, you can rate and review us on iTunes, which is very helpful. You can follow along with our episode segments with pictures on our website. We upload our episodes as a video format without our faces, so sorry about that. We upload it to YouTube.
No, it's better that way. At least for now. You don't want to know what's going on.
I sit in a dark room with like candles lit. You wouldn't be able to see my face, and I like it that way.
The campfire story. No, but that's true. Thank you for everyone that's like followed on like Instagram, and that's really cool. I love all that stuff. And that reminds me, speaking of which, like you get a lot of other podcast love on Instagram where people will follow you. And I had
you should shout out a couple of ones that have reached out to us that you've been listened to that you've liked.
Yes. Well, today, because there was one of the first ones to reach out that had to do with our cryptids genre was Cryptid Creations. Yep, that's right. No, edit. So that was really cool. I was just like, oh my god, someone wants to like shout out, and then I listened to their first episode. Yes, and it actually was really funny because you just never know. I was like, their theme was it's more like cryptids on the internet, stuff like that. And like I noticed they had exactly the image I talked about in your curse with the cursed images that says Dick the birthday boy. And I was like, oh god, these are our people probably.
Yeah. I checked out their Instagram and I saw that picture and I was like, oh god, it is a cursed image for sure.
Yeah. And like I listened, their episode was funny because they were basically talking not necessarily about cryptid in the first part, but like which Muppets would be the most monstrous or the creepiest. It actually made me LOL a few times, which I don't always, laugh out loud at work and stuff. So yeah, I would recommend you give them a shout. And again, it's Cryptid Creations.
Woo!
I definitely practiced that, you can tell. No, it's my first shout out, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm really excited to be like, yeah, just recognized as a podcaster, which feels even weird to say, but yes, we're excited to
Right?
be community. So thanks for all the love and all the listens, you guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Alanna texts me every time a new country or a new state in the US or a new province in Canada listens to us. And I'm always
Did
like, oh,
I
cool.
South Carolina? I think that was our newest.
I'm shocked that you know that. Like, you're always like, we just got one from this state. We've never had that one before.
It's not always accurate, sadly, which makes me mad. I was talking to my friend Jill today. She lives in
Yeah.
China. Do you think I told you we had one from China? No, they're probably blocking it.
Yeah. It's
Anyway,
hard.
that's a whole nother podcast. Sorry. I'll save my rant for now. Shut up, Grandma.
Yeah.
All
But
right. And that's what did we decide? Are we calling it Heist Baby, or are we calling it Holy Heist Batman?
I think we were doing Holy Heist Batman, but when I looked up, I was trying to find a better picture to use for the website, and I Googled Holy Heist Batman, and there's actually a whole bunch of news articles about a theft of Batman comic books that was like $100 million worth of Batman comic books that were stolen like 5 years ago, and all of the news articles were called Holy Heist Batman. There's like 18 articles. So I don't know if we're gonna get in trouble for calling it Holy Heist Batman.
Oh, damn it. Great minds think alike, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, if you just Google
Fair
Holy
enough.
Heist Batman, there's a shit ton of stuff that comes up about this theft.
That's funny because I definitely didn't read those, but okay.
Yeah, right?
Holy Heist Batman. Anyway, we'll think of it.
Yeah, I like it, but we'll see. I don't know. But yeah.
Baby.
Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, he got in trouble, and we all know how that went. So we definitely want to avoid any of that. That's why we always have our sources available. I just don't. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, and Pocket Casts. Our episodes are also uploaded to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers. Become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. You can also take our poll and let us know what kind of bonus content you'd like to see in the future. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes, as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Our music is by Kobe Off Air. Thanks for listening.